windows of Chrome, each of which has a different
You know
amount
what?
of
Screw it.
tabs.
I'm unmuting everyone early just so you can hear this insanity that's happening here. Mr. Studios, how many Chrome tabs do you have open?
46.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. It's too many.
So now you need to tell us what every single tab is. Go.
Alright, so I have
We're
6
gonna be
different
here all
windows
day.
of Chrome. 6 different windows of Chrome. One has like email stuff on it and YouTube and communication stuff, basically. Another one has like university stuff on it. And also apparently a whole bunch of like, well, it's all the research stuff as well when I'm doing a research project, so that's got all that. So I need, go back and use those tabs for referencing and things like that. But basically,
so-
the other 4 are completely useless. But I still
Stream stuff. Shut up
I
for a
have
second.
77 tabs open right now.
That's too many. Stream stuff. Okay, the
unironically.
first episode today is
You
Eye
win.
of the Needle, Voyager Season 1, Episode 6 or 7,
thousands,
depending
I
on
think.
how you count the pilot. Eye of the Needle with Vaughn Armstrong, pretty good episode. Though some people might object to its location in the series and implying they're gonna get home at Episode 6. Wow, they did it. Other than that, yeah. If this is your first time, what you do is you just queue up the episode Eye of the Needle, and then when the countdown in the top right hits 0, and we'll count down verbally as well. Try to say verbally and vocally at the same time. Vocally. We're going to count down vocally, and then you're going to press play. And then we're going to watch Star Trek, and that's it. And there's a Discord, and it's open to literally everybody. Except the, 3 people that I've banned. Except them. Everybody else. Don't worry about it. Okay. But yeah, tabs. The most tabs I've had open is probably
46.
12 ever.
I have
And that's if
another
I'm playing
37
Stardew
open
Valley
on
and
my
I have
phone.
pages open for every single character to see what their favorite gifts are.
I've had hundreds of tabs for sure. I have hundreds
Yeah.
of tabs open on my phone. And when
Yeah.
I was trying to get a GPU, I had over 60 tabs open of all the different web pages, all the different vendors that could have the GPU, and it was on auto refresh every 10 seconds
That
across like 6 monitors. That's how I got my GPU. It
This is
was-
some Minority Report right here.
when I'm looking to buy stuff, I don't add things to my cart. I just open a new tab and look for the next thing. So I have all the tabs of all the things I'm going to buy separately, which is why I end up having so many tabs.
You're just wasting electricity.
what? I
The
don't get that.
percentage that a single tab is using is not very high. I know it's a lot of RAM usage, but that doesn't equate.
Not even all that much RAM, I don't think. I mean, it's offloaded.
Oh, Mr. Mercurius, if you could please put on some headphones so we don't get echo and show audio, that would be ideal.
And or activate noise suppression.
Chrome
Ideally
is
both.
currently using 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Yes, if you're going to join, please use
That's what
headphones,
Chrome
because
does.
echo is bad.
I mean, you brought it on yourself. That's why it's using so much.
No, Chrome will do that
And you have
anyway.
extensions installed. It
You've
also
had
reserves
some
space
tabs
for
open
extensions on
since
each
last
tab.
year. What could you possibly need to have a tab from last year open for?
Sometimes
you
on
have-
my phone, I just leave a tab open just because, I've gotten, because for nostalgia's sake,
Turn
wow,
off your
I've had
computer once in a while.
Nostalgia
this-
tabs.
Yeah, my record is I've had a tab open for 2 years on my phone.
But why?
Nostalgia, you've had it open for 2 years. And you still haven't read the content of the page.
You just wake up every morning. Maybe I'll read. Nah, I won't read it today.
Well, it's way in the back. It eventually got closed when I reached the tab limit, when it comes to the number of tabs my browser could have open, and it closed it automatically, and that was a sad day.
I don't think I've ever reached a tab limit on my browser. That's a lot of tabs.
Do you know
I've
how many
attempted the
tabs I
tab
have
limit.
open right now? I have 2 tabs. I have one for the stream chat and I have one for the show. And that's it.
You just gotta start doing one college research project, and then,
Yeah, no, the extra 60 tabs open.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that wasn't an issue when I was in college. That didn't come up. I had 4 tabs open, maybe. I don't know how you
wow.
guys do your research projects,
We
reading
Literally.
12 different PDFs at the same time.
every single source has to be open in a separate tab.
No, it has to be bookmarked. Anyway, everybody press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
I never have
You
more than 4
bookmark
tabs
the
open.
different sources. Hi, Kevin.
I barely
Anyway.
ever use the bookmark thing.
Yeah, well, Jesus Christ. Look, you can even make folders in your bookmarks so you can have them organized. You don't need...
Maybe one day.
Our university licenses the software we can use to keep all of our sources straight, but I just haven't gotten around to converting all of my, porting all of my citations over into
This
that. So I
conversation
just
is
have them all
stressing me
open
out.
right now.
So, how do you go to warp without long range sensors? How does that work?
I mean, you can do it. It's just really
with
dangerous.
great
You
hope.
just crash into
Yeah.
things.
You have to react to
Makes
the
it almost
short
entirely
range
empty.
sensors very quickly.
Will we end up inside the sun? Who knows?
Well, I assume you can see a sun coming. They're not exactly subtle. Warp's not that fast. There's a animation
pretty
someone
frickin'
made showing
fast.
all the different warp speeds in the solar system, and it's like a snail's pace in actual space. Takes forever to get anywhere,
No,
even
no.
at warp 9.
Yeah, yes.
Doesn't it take like a second or something?
The Harry Kim. Oh no, he's not dying today. Well, today, but not this episode.
By tomorrow.
The
Does he use a
Is he gonna
transporter?
die tomorrow too?
I know more.
How did? What episodes are tomorrow? While we're just doing this intro.
Oh, look
Does
at
Harry
that
Kim
overlay
die in them?
scene on that
Can-
sun.
Today's Sunday. You mean next week?
Wow.
Yeah.
I really have to come to the Enterprise watch-alongs. Haven't
Well,
watched
do
it
it.
at all.
Oh, wait, you've never
That's
watched
fun.
Enterprise? Because if so, you might just want to watch Enterprise without us, because you're not going to get the plot if we're talking
talk
over
about
it.
the end of it before, you know.
Do you still do the sing-alongs?
No,
No.
Was that just a one-time thing?
that was one time. There was a
Oh,
one-time
man.
exception to the singing ban.
Ugh.
And
Look,
I
I
posted
watched
it
the
as a
Enterprise
video
pilot.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just the singing. If you just want to listen to our beautiful voices. Again.
I
It
really
looks
couldn't
like...
stand the Enterprise pilot,
I was
so I
and-
just
and
never watched it again.
I was just
next
watching
week
the guy
has
thing.
the episode where the Doctor goes into this... He is some Nordic fantasy hollow novel.
Oh yeah.
The Beowulf one?
Yeah, Beowulf, that's it.
Beowulf. Yeah. Does he
What's his
also
name?
That's actually a pretty
Schweitzer?
good
choose a
episode from
name and
season
then
one.
he like decides not to use it because that woman gave it to him and she's got deleted?
I don't know. I remember the Doctor in fur.
All right, guys. We're series finale of Voyager, episode 6. They're gonna find a wormhole. They're gonna use
They
it to
made
get
their
home.
way home. Wow.
Yeah, and that'll be the end. And over the course of the
Sorry, my
entire
mom's
series,
working.
they maybe, the getting to the Delta Quadrant was a bit rough, but after that, that's like 0 casualties.
One
They
might
are
say
bringing
was
back-
super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, they would be bringing back Neelix with them, which isn't necessarily a win, but you could do a
Well,
lot
all
worse.
kinds of things happen when you go through a wormhole. Who's to say whether Neelix would make it through?
Uh,
You might meet with a
Would
tragic
you say,
accident
like-
on the way.
Maybe Neelix would be merged together with someone else in the wormhole.
Oh
No, that would never happen.
Wormholes don't
It'd be great
merge
if they
people
found-
together. Flowers merge people together. Don't you know your lore?
It would be great if they'd found a wormhole that took them to the Gamma Quadrant, and they knew that there was a wormhole going to the Gamma Quadrant that they could get home quicker. But they get there in the middle of the Dominion War,
Yeah.
and they just get
Yeah.
immediately shot down.
So by this point, they do know about the wormhole because we see a couple Gem Hadar on the show because they know about the Dominion, yada yada. Unfortunately for them, if you look at the map, the Bajor wormhole well, the wormhole on the Gamma Quadrant size is about the same distance as Earth is from them.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't go that
Also-
way around. But
Yeah.
Wait. When do we see the Jem'Hadar in Voyager?
We see one as a hologram on that ship where the holograms like stage a coup. And then we see a Jem'Hadar ship, a warship, in a combat simulation on the holodeck.
I
Oh,
can
okay.
never remember.
what season of
Isn't this
DS9 did they
episode?
leave though?
It's like 3.
Season 3.
3 or 4.
Okay, so
yeah.
they literally just met. Well, no, they
Yeah.
met them early. I get.
They have
okay.
met
it's
the
the season 2
Dominion, and
finale.
they know they're hostile, but there's not a war yet.
I think it would
It's
be
like-
hilarious if like
The whole plot of this.
They
Oh, go
find a
on.
wormhole that like goes straight into like I don't know like Gorn space, you know, and like it's just like a stone's throw from Earth, but they're never getting through Gorn space in a million years.
Gorn, our ally in this century.
Are they?
I don't know.
Isn't there like a
Shouldn't it
Gorn
be a dead
Enterprise?
giveaway? Like, they should know where the exit point of this wormhole is. Obviously, it's not there anymore because it collapsed like 40 years ago.
Argos, you changed your profile picture. It's not the avatar like you've been having in that.
It's my
What's the
cyberpunk
context for the
character.
Gorn and Enterprise? Like, there's this really bad
Nice.
CGI Gorn that comes on the ship. I know that clip, but I don't know anything about the
Yeah,
episode.
it's in season
It's
4.
Mirror
They have
Universe.
a mirror episode.
Oh, okay.
A Voyager?
Of Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Mirror Universe Enterprise, where the Gorn are serving as like labor enforcers, slave drivers.
You know, I don't even think this is necessarily a bad episode. It's just terribly placed.
Yeah.
Michael, do you have any thoughts on that? Michael?
Michael? Green light?
Michael?
I guess he
Apparently
doesn't-
Michael has no thoughts on that whatsoever.
Yeah, Michael has
But
no
yeah.
thoughts on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe this should be... It's a little odd to have it season 1. But also it would lose its impact if this was at a point after they'd already made contact with Starfleet, so it can't be too late.
Well, but does like the wormhole doesn't work, right? In this episode.
Yeah. They're
So
gonna find out
it
that,
doesn't really
I mean, the
make a
wormhole
difference.
technically works. They can get through to the other side.
they
but,
just don't know where it lands, right?
Sorry,
They know
did
where
you
it
want me?
lands. Michael, I wanted your thoughts on the placement of this episode in the series as opposed to its quality of an episode.
Oh, yeah, I think it's way too early to go to this story.
Oh, this is the Romulan time travel episode. Okay.
Too early.
Yes.
For a minute, I was thinking, this is the much more interesting Romulans tries to steal the Prometheus episode.
No.
But no, we're not at that
Way
yet.
later. Hey,
So
Ryan,
they
can I
like
get a
send a
timestamp?
message back with the Romulans, right? That was
Sure. Let
this
me
episode.
stream it to Discord so you can see a better timestamp. There you go. 8:22, 8:23, 8:24. So on Amazon, when you hover over, it's the Amazon X-ray. Why does Robert Picardo look evil? Why does he look like a Sith Lord?
He
One
is.
of the
Maybe he
evil
is a
Doctor
Sith
episodes.
Lord. Maybe starring on 7 seasons of Voyager led him to the dark side.
Maybe.
I mean, it did at one point. There was that one episode.
Sorry, my attention was divided because it's the U.S. Grand Prix today in Formula One, and I have that on in the background.
Okay.
Star Trek,
Okay.
the Starship Voyager is much faster than any Formula One car.
I mean, yes, but also Formula One is real, so you know.
Ryan, I
Oh,
like that
focus.
that kind of a side by side comparison.
Star Trek Voyager is real. Everyone
You
knows
know,
this actually
It has
happened.
variable geometry nacelles, so it's even more aerodynamic than a Formula One car too.
But
Yeah.
this is also one of the only episodes where Voyager is actually just sitting still looking at a wormhole. It's not actually moving.
They're hanging out, man. They
If
need
you
a
look
break.
at the shots we'll see later in the episode, it looks like the ship's moving a little bit, like flying in circles for no reason.
Sorry. Can't help it.
So yeah, when would be a good time to put this? It has to be before they make formal contact with Starfleet, maybe before the Prometheus.
I
Like
think
season
I'd put
4.
it before the Prometheus.
Yeah, I'd say like season 4. Actually, I don't know when the Prometheus is. When's the
I feel like
Prometheus?
that's like 2 or 3.
I think it's later than that. I don't bloody know.
Well, the Doctor has his mobile emitter in that episode.
Message
so
in a
that
Bottle
gives
is
us-
season 4, episode 14.
Does he have his mobile emitter?
I just watched that episode.
Yeah, because he
the other day.
mentions
No,
it. He
no.
says he can go anywhere.
No, that's like in season
He
4.
gets the mobile emitter in the season finale of season 1.
No, he doesn't.
So,
No,
Isn't
that's
it season
or
2?
is it the
Season-
season premiere
no,
or season
I thought it was
2?
season
We will
no,
find out.
Whatever.
It's season
Look, don't worry
2,
about it. He
but I
gets a
think it's
mobile
in the
emitter at
beginning
some
of
point
season 2.
from...
I thought he could walk around.
It's the episode they go back to 1996 Earth.
He
because
can walk around on the Prometheus
cheap.
because they have.
For some reason, I thought it was in season 4.
They have
but
hollow emitters on the whole ship.
7 comes in
He just
season 4.
mentioned. I just remember him mentioning that he had the mobile emitter because.
Correct.
Yes.
They should just make a whole ship that's just hollow emitters.
That they did. It's the Prometheus.
No, it's just hollow.
No, when you can
It's just one big
reconfigure every
hollow
room
emitter.
to be whatever.
Yeah, like the entire ship is a hologram.
Well, I mean, they kind
actually-
of do that in Discovery Season 3, except instead of being a hologram, it's programmable matter.
They
And it's
explored that
Discovery.
idea on a long time ago on Red Dwarf. What a hollow ship would be like.
Yeah, the episodes where he gets the mobile emitter are like 10 into the 3rd season.
Okay.
Which really just shows us how memorable the 2nd season of Voyager is.
What happened in the second season?
We
Let
got
me look up
Tuvix,
Voyager Season 2
we
and see
got
what's in it.
Threshold.
Is Tuvix really season 2?
Yeah.
Tuvix is Season 2,
really
Episode
early.
24.
Yeah.
Well,
Way too many episodes that are early on. I feel like
Season 2 has the episode Deadlock, where Harry Kim's gonna die.
Death Wish is really great on season 2.
is that the
Good
double
one, Star-
Voyager
oh.
episode?
It's a Q
Yeah,
connection
Deadlock-
episode.
Deadlock-
First Q episode,
no.
yeah.
Deadlock is the double Voyager. Death Wish is the Suicidal Q. Yes.
The Suicidal Q.
Death
That's
Wish is a
like
really good
one of the best
episode.
episodes of Voyager,
Yeah,
I
man.
think.
Season 2 is
Very good
actually all right.
episode.
I just, forgot that the episodes are in Season 2.
Voyager has like some standout, like really, really, really good episodes, but the problem is that just a lot of it is just mediocre.
He gets
Yeah,
the
you have
mobile
an
emitter in the
episode like
Ed Begley
Tattoo.
Jr. episode. Who calls it the Ed Begley Jr. episode? It's clearly the Sarah Silverman episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Sarah Silverman.
Exactly the same frequency and amplitude.
That's the season 3.
What Season 3?
That's in season 3. The 1996 episode.
Yeah, 8 and 9.
Future's End. Okay.
Yes.
I wonder if they
Yeah,
were able
she's
to
in-
know
I thought it was earlier
originated
than
in the
that.
Alpha Quadrant
No,
because
no.
because of like video formatting, like
Ah,
you can tell if
But you
something's
see,
NTSC
Robo was
or
earlier
PAL.
than that by several hundred years.
Season 3.
Right. Everyone's really quiet, and I don't know why.
Everyone sounds good to me.
Turn up your volume.
Yeah, make sure your volume's turned up.
Crank that soldier boy.
Aha.
Well, the more you turn everyone
Ah.
down, the better they sound.
Maybe I could
So-
just mute everyone and do it myself.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
my
power.
headset has
Back to
has
basics.
2 knobs. One is for just communication
Don't
audio,
tell
and
us what
one
your
is for
knobs are for.
everything.
Stop.
And the
Vegetable
one that's for
bouillon.
everything
Who
also
orders a cup of
reduces-
broth?
Catherine Dana.
Janeway, obviously.
It's not even soup, it's just the broth.
Broth is
Some
good on
are
one
she
day.
had
very
it off the
nutritious
Like, why is she getting that instead of coffee?
because coffee requires
don't
more
know.
rations.
She's not
More
addicted to
replicated
it yet.
Well, she did
Didn't we
already go to the cloud for coffee.
Yeah, we had coffee in the nebula. Come on, Janeway.
Wasn't the whole point of that they didn't end up getting any coffee
Yeah,
from
they
Nebula?
didn't get that. So maybe there's a shortage of coffee, but if she can replicate...
Okay, but like it should take exactly the same amount of energy to replicate.
Yeah, she
just
can
about any
replicate
liquid.
broth, so she should be able to replicate coffee. I don't know.
Pandemic and
She just
Maybe
wants some broth.
Maybe
guys.
heating it up.
Machine ran
is
out of
energy.
coffee.
I was going to say,
Reprogramming the doctor? You can't do that.
At this point, the
Oh,
Doctor
when
is
does
like
the
really
new
snarky and annoying,
EMH come?
but he gets better.
Oh, season 4. Andy Dick, EMH.
Andy Dick.
Yeah, like
That's
the
how-
new one, a newer model comes. I don't remember like how it
Thomas
happens.
Dick training for
He
some
doesn't
reason.
come onto Voyager. They transport the doctor through a message. They email the doctor to another ship, and on the other ship they have the EMH Mark II. Which is Andy Dick.
They should have had Dr. Bashir
Not
be the
Moby
EMH
Dick.
Mark II, like in the episode.
Yeah, we know why
but
that
Dr.
didn't
Bashir
happen,
is
though.
unsuitable for reconstruction due to his suspected genetically enhanced background.
Oh,
He also wasn't the EMH Mark II.
Yeah.
He was the LMH.
How do you guys
Yeah.
feel about hologram rights?
I mean,
Hmm.
Star Trek holograms seem sentient, so yeah, sure. They can have rights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's really confusing that they
They
invented
were like
like
humans.
sentient computer programs.
Well, isn't the Doctor like the ship computer actually? So it's not like the same as Data.
Now,
But he's a separate program from the main computer.
now,
It's one of those things where it's like, I think they raise the question in the episode, don't they? Is it just that the Doctor is pretending to be sentient, or that he actually
Yeah.
is?
If we
The
can't
doctor-
tell
There's
the
no-
difference, it's better to
Yeah.
be safe than sorry and just...
There's no real way to tell that difference because
Yeah.
humans are just machines that have emergent
Machines of a
behavior.
different type.
But then you've gone and created a ship. Well, there's this system that goes on every ship, right? The EMH, and every time one of those ships explodes,
It's Vaughn.
you haven't gone and saved the Doctor, right? So they just,
Huh? But the people on the ship also
People
die.
also
I don't
die.
understand.
Yeah.
No, but there are escape pods for everyone except for the Doctor. Is my point.
Well, there's
Right.
also the fact that Voyager's EMH is kind of an outlier case because they're not supposed
Because
to
he
be
was
active
active
as
so
long as the
long,
Doctor ends up
yeah.
being active.
And then they're not supposed to be sentient, really.
Also, the Doctor not being able to leave the ship is going to come up
Or
later in this episode when everyone's trying to go home and they have to leave him behind. It's like, oh
And
god,
he's just like,
he's going to be alone.
see you guys. Turn me off. And then they don't.
the Doctor is just like anybody else, but except he's a computer simulation. But he does do the same things that we all do, you know.
I think at
He
this point
he talks,
in the series,
he makes jokes, he walks.
at
This
this
was
point
like
in the
the
series, he
equivalent
kind of isn't.
of
Like, I don't know if he is sentient yet, is he? Is there like a point where he crosses into that and
he
starts
can't
trying to
cross that.
improve
No.
himself?
It's an impossible
So-
question. So you just have to err on the side of caution. And say like, yeah,
When
okay.
so the real question
sentient, so let's
that
treat him
everyone's
as
thinking
such.
about, it's on everyone's mind right now, is when do we give the Amazon robots free rights and all that? Like, you know those little robots that shuffle around the warehouses and move packages around? When do we give
Yeah,
the
them
little
the
robots
humans
that
are right
deliver
there, right?
packages to
So-
people's doors.
they
Yeah.
get more breaks than the human workers because they actually have to stop to recharge.
So do we. They
The
just
human
don't let
workers-
us.
The human workers have to pee in a bottle. And
when
wear
do
a
we give
diaper.
when do we give the robots rights so that they don't rise up and destroy us? That's really
When
the
we give
question.
them the ability to adapt and learn properly.
You know what we do, Argos? We don't give them the agency to make that choice.
Should
that
should
sounds right.
robots have the right to bear arms?
Yes, totally.
They already do.
But
They
robots have
already
different
have
ideas, you know.
Yes, we already
Ideas
have
of, like,
drones and such.
There's defense. I have photos from one of the recent defense
How did I
conferences where they have
me think?
like the Boston Dynamics robot with a machine gun on its back. You remember the Boston Dynamics, like the little cute dog robot? Well, they have
When
it
you
in
said
like
I
you
have,
know,
I thought it was going to be like, oh, I have one of those. And I was just picturing like you were going to describe to us a Roomba with a shotgun taped to the top.
I thought you were like a spy who was
No,
like
everyone knows-
infiltrating secret defense
I have the
conferences
slide.
and were like leaking top secret
Everyone
information in the
knows-
Star Trek Voyager watch along stream.
everyone knows you don't arm a Roomba with a shotgun. You arm it with a Claymore mine. It's a better area of effect.
But then you lose the drone. You need the Roomba for. You don't want to keep buying Roombas.
No, it's a suicide drone.
You
Claymores are
can't
directed
ask a robot to go
weapons
kill itself
anyway,
like that.
isn't it?
We went over this in the Exocomp episode.
It's technically not a Roomba, it's a Boomba.
Okay. There is a video game called Roombo, which is about being a Roomba like that goes all Rambo and kills people.
I think the lesson we learned in the Exocomp episode is it's okay to send machines to their destruction unless they come back. Like, you know, if they're cool with it, like
Unless
let
they
them do
come
it.
back.
It's all
But
about
didn't the
consent.
machines consent to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they want to do it, you know, go for it.
I think it's perfectly
I would
okay
destroy
to
our
send a
enemies.
machine to its destruction if it comes back, because then you're not really destroying it.
Yeah, that's the
I was
point.
saving
you know
this-
it's not down with it.
If
I was
the machine
saving this
has
for
the
later.
ability to analyze the situation, realize it's going to die, and not want to, then I think you can call it sentient.
Okay, so
I was saving this for later.
Star
but
Trek.
since-
Star Trek. The actual show. The actual show that we're watching. Janeway, I'm surprised how early she's considering giving the Doctor more freedom. Right now she's saying, "Oh, do you want some control of your program? You need anything else? Give me some requests. What do you want? How can we help you?" But then later she's kind of gonna go back on that and say, like, he's just a program. He has no rights.
Right.
I think
Oh,
it's a very pragmatic thing she's doing. She's trying to improve the Doctor because that'll make the crew's life easier. Not that she's trying to specifically give the Doctor more freedom.
A point where the Doctor tries to murder someone.
Who sleeps like that, Kathy?
Oh, and
She's
one
calmed
episode.
down. She's had a hard day at work.
Only the Doctor on the Equinox.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
And when the Doctor malfunctioned.
When was the malfunction?
They
He
erased
malfunctions a lot.
his ethical subroutines, and they were having him do the work on 7 of 9.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember
They
the
didn't
Exocomps?
erase his
Since-
singing voice, though.
There's the time they
Doctor has abusive powers.
had him get possessed by a missile.
No, not that time.
What?
There was a time where some of
So the
his
Exocomps,
subroutines
right?
malfunctioned because he tried to reprogram himself, and then he went down to a planet and like chucked someone off a cliff or something because
That's-
We need a counter to see how many times I'm going to try to start this sentence and fail. But exocomps, I've been saving
gonna
this,
talk
but since
over.
exocomps
Anyway.
came up in
Speaking of
Enterprise, in
exocomps,
episode,
has anyone played any XCOM lately?
No, I didn't
No.
really like
In the-
XCOM. I
in-
tried it a few years ago.
I need to get into XCOM 2. I need to grab the expansion packs.
Okay,
while they're on
Robo,
sale.
what would you like to say about exocomps?
in the episode where Enterprise goes to that repair station, the automated repair station, the device that repairs Malcolm's leg is an exocomp that's just spray painted silver. And then later
Yes.
on, they use a piece of the exocomp as a part of the Xindi probe when Archer is confronting the arboreal guy. I think he throws it at him. And he's like, "What is? Explain this. This is a piece of the probe, and it's just the side of the exocomp." So that prop got around a little bit.
It's a good prop.
To think they disassembled a sentient exocomp to throw it around as a prop.
But yeah, I don't know, but of course I'm joking, but the doctor got his power. The doctor got his routines taken away because he was abusing his powers. And that
Yeah,
that may be true, but I was
how many times has
kind
the
of
Doctor
kind of trying
gone
to be funny
evil?
on that.
He was
I remember the
Yeah, he was
episode.
evil.
he had his ethical subroutines erased once. He was possessed by a missile once. There was that time that he like took Kes to a cliff. And he
Yeah,
was
that's
like
what I was
possessed
talking
by
about.
yeah. I don't remember what happened exactly, but he was like possessed by an ancient evil. Oh no, Kes
No,
was
no, no,
possessed by an
no,
ancient
no.
evil in another episode.
Yeah, he had a problem where he kind of formed two personalities, an evil one and a normal one,
Oh yeah.
because he was reprogramming himself, and then
Oh.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
he
so
took
good.
someone off the
I can
cliff.
tell I skipped that episode.
What was there was the time he started like impersonating people on the ship, but I don't know if that counts.
Oh,
was
an
author
episode,
where he
he's-
made a hollow novel where they're evil.
That's
Oh
such a
no,
good
no,
episode.
the one where
Good
they,
episode,
the
yeah.
one where
Oh,
like,
yes, that one.
yeah,
Renaissance Man. That's what that one's called.
That's
yeah.
the penultimate episode, isn't it?
Something like that.
There was an
It's not
episode where
night.
he
You're
couldn't
in space,
save
or I
two
guess it's
people.
always night in space.
It's always night in space.
It's always night in space.
It's actually
What does
really
that mean?
impressive that, but through this wormhole that like travels through time, they actually managed to get another ship that's on like the exact same time zone as they are.
Night
And
is
the
when the
Romulans
sun
operate
is-
on the same time zone that they do,
Yeah,
for
Isn't
whatever
night when the
reason.
sun isn't visible in the sky?
I'm,
But all the suns are
assuming
visible in
he-
the sky, so it's always day in space.
I'm assuming
Even
that he hailed them, and the person who answered the hail was like, "Oh, she's in bed right now," and then so he knew that he was waking her up to talk to her, so that's why he said
Or-
good night when he was
But
done.
then-
He
should
could have
be
said
the
anything
frickin-
as an entity. He could have said good morning, and the universal translator would have just said good night because it adjusts for time zone as well as language.
imagine being like the operator on
Oh,
the
hey,
bridge,
Vaughn.
Just for-
and like you get to talk with like, you get to be one of the only people on the ship that gets to talk with people from the Alpha Quadrant, and they're just like, yeah, hold on, I'll connect you to her home office. Beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, beep.
Right, yeah.
Why isn't it classified, Janeway?
Because the
I think-
Romulans would just go for it if it was classified. Like, if it said classified, they'd be like right in there. So they just declassify it.
Yeah, if they
Oh, like in Enterprise where they forced Tucker to go snooping because they encrypted T'Pol's communications, her personal letter.
Hmm.
I
If
kind of
you
don't know.
hide something, then they have to find it.
I kind of
It's a
don't know.
mystery.
I kind of don't know why, but in the episode called Night, you know, Neelix has that curtain, and I always wondered why does he have a curtain? Because obviously, like we said, it's always night. It's always night in space.
No, in the
When Sam
episode,
gets her own
isn't that the one
quarters-
where there's no
She
stars?
doesn't have a curtain. Yeah, yeah.
Because that'd be kind of
that one, yeah.
freaky to look out into an infinite blackness.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. All right.
There was an episode with the Doctor. He couldn't
Because I
save
was
two
gonna say
people at
why-
once.
Because
Yeah.
I was going to say why you need curtains when you're in space, but
Time for
that
the
makes sense.
classic Janeway emotional appeal.
Though the curtains in space does give a great line between Neelix and Seven of Nine. It's like, oh, well, you know, I put the curtains up. I need a bit of privacy. Like, privacy? We're in space. Who's gonna be looking in your window?
It makes
mean,
sense
most
if
of
it
the
goes
time-
to a star.
Do you think
if
there's
they're
like
going to a
someone with
star.
like using like their freaking space telescopes to like
Most of the
like
time,
To
window
peep on
peep,
you
Neelix?
get privacy, but sometimes
yeah,
you
like
don't.
peep on Neelix while he's like
Maybe
think,
maybe his
um,
window is next to the docking port. You don't know.
there's maybe there's like a whole freaking multi-billion-dollar program run by some aliens to like peep on Neelix.
I'm surprised how willing this Romulan is, or Von Armstrong, I should say. I'm surprised how willing Romulan Von Armstrong is to just open up about his personal life to his enemies.
It's been a while. Like this is
He's a lonely
quite
guy.
a while in between TNG and the initial Romulan War, right? So there's quite a gap there. So they
It's
haven't
like
seen
six
him
years.
for a
This
while.
guy's in the past. I don't remember how far in the past.
It's like, so like
Not
between
that
TNG and the Romulan War is
I
like
think it's like
280
60
years.
Yeah, I
think
think we're before
The
TNG.
Romulan
right?
War was before
The
TOS.
Romulan.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
is this guy
Romulan War is
sufficiently far in the
between
past that it would be in a period where the Romulans were gone? Because they show up again in
Season
TNG, it's like, we are back.
Yeah,
Well,
in the
they
season
weren't
1
gone,
finale
they were
of
I think this was
TNG,
Evie. I don't know.
in the season 1 finale of TNG, the Romulans, they say they haven't been seen in 50 years. So it's probably around that time, like 50
Maybe
years before the start of TNG.
That explains why the Federation have no knowledge of this wormhole then, because it would have been in Romulan space at a time when Romulus.
Yeah, and this
closed
Romulan
up.
dies before he can give the information to the Federation. So just,
Season
their plan doesn't
5
work.
of Enterprise was supposed to be the human Romulan War. So
Yeah, if
Ooh,
that
Balana, are
happened,
you
I
going to
would
give us an
probably be watching
analogy about
Enterprise
how
right now.
wormholes work? Can we have an analogy?
No, she's
No,
Gonna
just
explain.
technobabble.
Human Romulan War was fought between 2156 and
Sans ideas.
2160. So that's even before the founding of the Federation.
Yeah.
So
Because it's just Earth Romulan, right? Not the
That's-
Federation Romulan.
that's 300 years before we see them in Next Generation. It's what 2363 when we see them in the Next Generation.
I don't know. But I
All right,
think
boys.
this was 83, but I
They're
don't
going to
know.
make their way home. They're
They're
going to
gonna get
transport
back.
off the ship, transport to the Romulan Empire, and be fine.
You can even use that guy down in the lower decks. You know, the guy that does like the power redistribution, and he's trying to like, crunch all the numbers all the time because that's all he likes doing. You can use that guy too if you want.
I like that guy who, like the guy where they arrive in the Delta Quadrant and he's like sick and then he just never leaves his office over the course of the entire show.
So I think what's going to happen here is they're going to beam over to the Romulan ship. They're going to be taken as prisoners of war. And then they're going to have to do this big daring prison escape and make their way back through the wormhole to get out of there.
You just gotta beam
Get
the
back on
entire
Voyager.
ship
They're gonna
through the
stay there.
wormhole and run away.
Or they get taken to a prisoner of war camp and they meet Tasha Yar.
Tasha Yar?
That's another
They
idea.
could.
An eidetic memory.
Or maybe they try and transport people through, and the Romulan just creates holograms of them on the other side to convince them that they're there, but they're actually being dematerialized in the wormhole. That'd be nice.
And then he transports onto Voyager and takes it with him. So, this is mine now.
Yeah, right.
Science mission.
Actually, this would actually be around the time of the Enterprise C, wouldn't it? Because the Romulans were a thing then. Right.
Yes, they were attacking Nelvana 3.
So this is probably
It was
around
fully
there.
integrated into the sick-based system. How does he get it into the
Don't
mobile
worry about it.
emitter?
It's
He's
He's
just
just
Could be a lot
programmed
of
to say
things.
that. It's not really how it works.
Narendra 3. It was the planet.
What's Nelvana 3? Because that's another planet. Where's Nelvana?
Was that the secret mission that Picard went on and he like used
Yeah, I
it?
remember Picard said it at some point.
He like used it. I don't think we ever see it
Oh.
on the show, but it was when
Oh,
he's like in the little bottle
No,
episode.
Nelvana 3 is the planet that Admiral Jarok tells them the Romulans are building a base on.
Oh
in
yeah.
the Defector.
And it's
What's the
just,
planet
it's just a
called?
probe.
And it's
More
like
like
the planet
the
where
defective, but
it's the mystery episode. You know, the one where they all wake up and Data's just chilling. What's that
What?
planet called?
It doesn't have
We're
a
not
name because they
supposed to
never
know.
technically find it.
Hmm.
He pretends it's a different planet, doesn't he? And then they figure it out. Geordi's like, I've seen that planet before.
Right.
You'd think
God,
Data
what's
would
that
have just created a new planet. Like,
Yeah, he could have
He
just
did
like mocked
alter
one up
some
in
of the
paint.
parameters. He changed some of the colors. He
He
put a
just,
filter
like,
on it.
Yeah, you just put a Photoshop filter or something on it. Yeah.
It's really lazy work by Data standards, really. Like honestly.
probably would have
Yeah,
taken them like 0.3 of a second longer to make it more imaginative.
Well, for
But
an
he's doing it like
android,
while
that is
everyone's
an
regaining
eternity.
consciousness.
You're going to allow them to... They could transport a bomb, Vaughn. You don't know. These are the sworn enemies of your empire.
What if they
remember that-
transport a hollow
The
commando
Freddie
aboard?
man.
A hollow commando. The Federation
the
doesn't have that
emergency
technology.
commando program.
And he's on the ship all by
Activate
himself.
emergency commando program.
That's what they should have done on the Prometheus.
They couldn't have the hologram.
Basically.
It's if you have instead of leaving it up to the freaking like, you know,
They absolutely should have a holographic security team for emergencies.
yeah, like
they can just-
holographic RoboCops that just freaking
They just appear in every square inch of the ship and zap.
yeah. You just shoot every you know like you just use holographic bullets that just come out of nowhere and just shoot everything.
You think after that episode with the replicator on Deep Space Nine shooting, that they would take that idea on board as well and just have the replicator start shooting things in all
The
directions?
transporter.
Ooh,
You
test
have-
cylinder.
It's blinky.
Just hot bananas firing out of the replicators.
Yeah.
God, I
What
made
did-
that video that was just people saying banana, and the whole reason I made it is because of Banana Hot. And then I forgot to
Banana
include
Hot.
Banana Hot in the video.
Do you think that what Starfleet needs to do is that whenever they think a ship is being captured, they just have Gul Dukat yell at them?
You know, this episode's really cool science fiction, and especially when the show is new, I feel like the writers always, because they don't have so much characters built up yet, they give homages to like other science fiction, and Star Trek is always within the context of Isaac Asimov and the company.
They're always using anesthetine gas, right? So if there's
Yeah.
ever an
Yeah.
intruder alert, why don't they just anesthetine gas the zone that they beamed into and that's it done?
Why don't they just
why don't
beam
they
them
just-
off the ship into space?
Why don't they just use the force
True.
field cascade?
Yeah, that's the
Aha.
only time it's ever used.
Why is Tuvok the only person with a gun? I know because he's chief of
Okay.
They
security,
only
but
have
on
one
the other
gun
shows,
on the
everyone has a
entire
gun.
sh- They
It's
only have
wiggling
one gun
around
on
quite
the entire
violently.
ship, Ryan.
They showed 20 tests. You know, I thought after one test they're just gonna beam the guy over.
Yeah.
Well, he's beaming over right now.
In Prometheus, they use
Here it comes.
anesthetine gas, so there you go. It's everywhere.
It's the guy.
Please address him by his proper name, Vaughn Armstrong. One of the best
It's the
guest
late Vaughn
actors in Star
Armstrong.
Trek.
That's Vaughn Armstrong.
Yeah, man. That's
Wouldn't
Admiral
he
Forrest.
be commander? Hold on a second. She called him captain, but wouldn't he be commander?
Your sub commander.
Yeah, he just didn't try to correct her.
Sub commander is like commander in.
No,
Starfleet.
sub commander is their commander. Is their captain.
No,
What's
command-
the
No, I
commander
don't
then?
think
Like an
so.
Admiral?
commander's the captain, sub commander's the first officer usually.
Yeah.
Where does Centurion rank?
Centurion is like crewman, security crewman.
How come
Like a
only
sergeant or
half of
something?
the names of Romulan ranks are Roman?
So they
That's
have
sci-fi.
general, admiral, commander, sub commander, colonel, centurion, major, sub lieutenant, and ulan. So centurion must be like lieutenant junior grade, or
It's just
maybe
the
lieutenant.
general officer rank.
Well,
Why does
'cause-
it not
okay, so
automatically
if-
translate through the universal translator?
Tuvok, how did you know how to
If-
scan for this? I assume that's not a default setting on the tricorder.
I think
If-
Tuvok was just bored,
No, he
and he's
said
just like pressing buttons, like when you like try and have fun with a graphing calculator.
he was trying to figure out the reason for the phase variance.
He was trying to type
Wait, what?
boobs on it.
Wait, how long
Wait,
was it?
yeah, what year did
20
the
years.
Romulan say? I missed it. It's 2371 now.
2351 and 2371.
Okay, 20
71,
years, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Somehow I found was 83, maybe even 63.
So this is currently, well, this Romulan is from a period where they have no contact with the Federation.
Could we also point out that 20 years in the past, our galaxy would be in a completely different location? So
Yeah,
why
It
would the
doesn't move that
wormhole?
It's not
fast.
rotating that fast, actually.
Yeah, it
It takes
does.
hundreds of thousands
That's
of years
crazy
for the
fast.
galaxy to rotate.
The galaxy is
okay.
orbiting the universe core,
So
right?
it's
Or
moving
away
the
from the
center
core of the
of
You've
the
Yeah,
universe.
the
strayed into
wormhole
the
is moving
territory
with
of
it.
thinking too much
The
about
The,
it.
wormhole
the
is
point is, it
existence
would be in a
based.
slightly
Core
different
of the
location.
universe.
No, Harry.
Okay, you're right.
Normally
you know what
with
I would do in
galaxy,
this
everything-
instance?
everything in the galaxy would be in a slightly different location too. So
Yeah.
like,
It all works out.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't all work out. It would be way off. It wouldn't just be a little bit off.
You'd be in like intergalactic space.
It can't be
So
that
off,
bad.
but
They
it's
just
right again.
transported the Romulans.
20 years
with
is
it.
not that long
So
of a time
the
in all
galaxy,
astronomical scale.
the galaxy is moving at 1.3 million miles per hour. That's pretty fast.
I mean, the
2.1
Earth
That's
is
pretty
million
slow
moving at
in
1,000
galactic
miles
terms.
an hour.
Relative to the size of the
But
universe
for
that we
20
know
years,
of, that's
20
like
years is going to move quite a bit.
Hey,
Nice.
at
Well,
1,000
It
miles an
also
hour, we're
doesn't
moving
matter
pretty
if we're
fast.
talking about a wormhole, because like while the wormhole seems to go
Yeah.
from the Delta Quadrant to the Alpha Quadrant, it also may just go from the Delta Quadrant at 20 years in the future to the Alpha Quadrant 20 years in the past. You know, there's
so
no
they've
theoretical
they've
Or
limit.
maybe
locked
it goes
onto him in the past.
nowhere, and the movement of the galaxy has shifted its aperture, and that's why it's even there.
Okay, so you said 1.3 million miles per
an
hour?
hour. Yep.
That is
That's quite
0.002 C.
Yes,
So,
That's
the point
pretty
is
slow.
that he's no
in
longer
20
in the
years-
same location.
okay, you're
That's
right.
the point.
But here's the
Doesn't
thing,
matter
any,
where he is.
any
but he's
time
now-
travel then doesn't work. You know, from the Borg going to Earth, whatever. Because
No,
you're
here's
right.
what I'm
the
saying.
Earth
In
would have
20
moved-
years, the distance was changed by less than a light year.
I got a
Okay,
quick question
we'd still
here.
be in the same
So
quadrant.
Romulans are an offshoot of Vulcans, right? So in 20 years, this guy should be like just fine, right? Because he probably
Yeah.
lives to be 200.
Yeah.
So why is he like, I'll be an old man? You look like you're hardly middle-aged now. You should still be middle-aged for a
Maybe
Romulan
he
in the
is
20
one of
years in the
those
future.
Yeah.
rare genetic conditions where you age really fast.
No, you're right. He should be worried about age.
But he said by the time they get back, right? That's
Yeah, that's 70 years.
that's quite a while.
That's like
Yeah.
70 years or something at this point.
You
So
know
he
what
will
I
be
would do with this episode?
Yes.
I think it's a very straightforward answer where you have the ability, you have the technology
Mhm.
that allows you to like freeze people in stasis. What you should
They
do is
just gave him what is like so like a dude that only knows about hard drives, they just gave him like the most advanced solid state drive ever created.
That's the
on
thing,
that
though. This is
isolinear
probably
chip.
where
Yep.
the Romulans got their warp core and their cloaking devices from.
Why don't they just pull a Scotty and put them in the
Yeah.
transporter buffer for 20 years?
Yeah, like you can freeze people for 20 years. You can use those stasis chambers we see in a later episode of this show.
There are
A
plenty
later
of
episode,
methods.
just use the ones that they used on the Botany Bay.
Yeah. And just freeze them
I mean-
for like 20 years and thaw them out and go back.
Kim brings up the predicament, that if we go back and we're 20 years like older than we were when we left, you're in a totally different place 20 years older. You can't just pick up, those same family and romantic relationships that you were.
Here's the thing about this particular moment. They're all despondent, but like today, right now, we have technology that lets you schedule the sending of an email, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not
But
just
do you want to
he would
schedule
have
the sending
given
of
the
an
chip.
email of
Only for
secret
71.
documents?
He would have just given the chip to like a protege or something.
Yeah, you had to lick a stamp back.
What
then.
if they
That was
just-
normal?
It would be really funny if they sent him back with that chip, and then he was just like, "Wait, this isn't compatible with my system. Whoops."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
he
how
has to
do I
wait
read
20
that?
years to plug it
Phone.
in.
What they should
Doesn't
have
have the
done
right,
is
the right lead.
they should have just sent it to that post office from Back to the Future where you can request to have your packages delivered like a century in the future.
That was Western
What-
Union,
If
wasn't
you
it?
actually ask
The
the
guys were
post
like,
office
we're
to do
taking
that,
bets. Can you? Maybe.
would
Just
they
I don't,
do
destroy
think,
your
that?
package.
I don't think you can ask the post office to actually do that.
I mean,
thought
if
it
you
was
give them
Western
enough
Union
money,
that
I'm
he
sure they'll do it.
used.
They're a bit low on funding.
So now what you're saying is the price has never been cheaper, right? They're
Yeah.
desperate for money.
There we go, Doctor. Take charge. Ooh, he sirred the Doctor. And the Doctor has emotions, unlike Data, the most advanced android in the Federation.
He doesn't have rank pips though. I just noticed that.
Oh,
But he's
When it comes
chief
to
medical officer,
matters,
so
he's
it's
like the top.
yeah.
He doesn't have rank pips because
He-
he's not a real person, and only people get ranks.
Yes, true.
Inside
At
the
this
sick bay,
point,
he
he's not a real
outranks the
person.
captain. Just like in engineering, the chief engineer
But all
outranks
she has to
everybody no
do
matter what.
is back out of the door and be like, "Ha
Just
now
like-
you are not. You don't mean anything."
Please
In
kill the
fact,
captain.
you're not a
I
you're
wanna
boss
get-
me
getting to be
now.
EMH.
Does
Please.
Janeway back out of the sick bay doing that sarcastic Vulcan salute?
He's like, please
Sarcastic
tell the
Vulcan
captain
salute.
that I would like her
Yeah,
to
Robo,
install
have you
a
not seen
ping
Lower
pong
Decks? The
table and
sarcastic
shit
Vulcan
for
salute?
when I get bored.
I
Schmullis.
have not seen Lower Decks because I don't have what is it called now? Paramount Plus?
That's not an obstacle.
Star Trek Plus.
Paramount cash grab, I think.
I mean, there are ways and means of watching a show if you don't have the platform.
I'm a little upset with Lower Decks because Lower Decks.
Are you
pulled on
suggesting-
me.
Are you
All
suggesting
I'm suggesting is that
that
there are ways. I'm not
don't-
endorsing that you should do it, but there are ways. Anyway, 1 minute to the
Are
next
you-
episode, which is ex post facto.
does it involve an eye patch and a cutlass and going yar?
No.
No.
What? Who does that?
No. I'm just
No.
saying, maybe peg leg and a pirate. I mean
And
parrot. Yes.
You do not
pirate.
have to get one of your legs sawed off to watch Lower Decks.
You do
There's
have to
one
get the
time where
parrot,
I'm like,
though.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
with it is when a streaming service isn't available in the country you live in, and it's like, well, then you would never give
pay
the money
for it.
anyway.
I would pay for it
So-
if they would let me pay for it.
Exactly. So
Right?
in
Is that
that
what you're
case,
saying?
I think
Yeah.
it's like 100% just fine. So
I thought it
10
went on
seconds, everyone be
Netflix.
ready for ex post facto. And get ready to
Yeah.
press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
that minute,
I was
Yeah.
trying to get deeper with every word, but I think I reached my lower limit there.
Isn't this like a complete ripoff of the TNG episode where Riker
Yes.
and like the space station explodes?
Yeah, like if you want to go make
Not a
dinner
total
or something,
ripoff.
you just
It's not a
Alright,
total
you can do
ripoff.
that now.
This one has
it's
a
in the
dog
Delta
in it.
Quadrant.
Not even an alien dog, just straight up a dog.
No, but
It's in the Delta
Riker's-
Quadrant. It can't possibly be a ripoff.
Riker's punishment was to relive the crime over and over again.
No, Tom
Isn't-
Paris's
didn't
crime is to
O'Brien have to
relive
do
it
that?
over and over again.
Isn't this also kind of a ripoff of the O'Brien Mind Prison episode from DS9?
Yeah, TNG did it first though. So
Hmm.
TNG, DS9 ripped off TNG.
Wait, didn't DS? Wait,
Voyager
hold
ripped
on.
off DS9.
Didn't that DS9 episode come after season 1 of Voyager though?
Probably.
Look, it's a standard murder mystery. If it's ripping off anything, it's ripping off 40 years of cinema. It's fine. Oh,
The stab.
looks somewhat unpleasant.
This is graphic subject matter.
That O'Brien
Wow.
episode is amazing though.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite Deep Space Nine episodes.
A snuff scene in my Star Trek.
Like that O'Brien episode, it's like literally an episode from Black Mirror. Like I can see it happening. The exact same plot.
It's just such a terrible punishment. Not as in like it's awful, or like not as in it's like unbearable, but like it's just not a good idea.
If you were,
It's just
let's say you
inhumane.
were an actual like deviant, you were an actual criminal, this wouldn't be a punishment at all because you'd probably like it. You'd probably be like, yeah, it's time for my daily
That's true.
adrenaline
For the
rush.
instant replay of my greatest moments.
I mean,
I
let's
don't
be
think it
honest.
matters
In
if you're a
criminal
criminal.
psychology,
Criminals
Like,
don't
criminal
enjoy getting
psychology, if
stabbed.
you- so in criminal psychology, if you're interviewing a suspect and you show them like photos of the crime scene, that the usually the guilty parties will look at them like intently. So I feel that maybe if you were, a serial killer or whatever, you would like this. You would be like,
Robo,
okay,
you're,
cool.
You're really missing
great.
the main thing here, which is the experience of being stabbed every 14 hours.
I'm sure you'd get used to it. I'm just saying.
You might, but I think
Is he
the intent
feeling
of
it,
this
or-
punishment, honestly,
He's
is
feeling
to
it
get
because when
the-
he got stabbed, he did the thing,
Yeah.
and it was
It
awful.
seems like the intent of
Yeah.
that punishment is to get the person to kill themselves, honestly. Like, it's
Yeah.
basically mental torture ad infinitum.
Yes, it's straight
Yeah.
up torture.
Also, every 14 hours is such an inconvenient freaking time scale because it
Frequency?
means that it
You can
shifts
just-
by like 2
Yeah, it means
hours
it
every
shifts
single
each time.
day. And like,
Yeah,
what
you can
would
never
happen if
sleep.
you like when it's like it would go off when you're trying to sleep, and that would just suck.
You're like, hold
Or
on,
just
guys,
trying to work on something
I need to
important.
die real quick.
Like you're
Well,
working on something really important, and you're like, hold on, I'm gonna get stabbed in a second.
What if you're in the bathroom?
At least you would know exactly what time it is.
Yeah, you need to keep an alarm clock.
Yeah, like you'd be in a
No,
meeting
that is your alarm clock.
and like you're like, oh, Mr. Paris, what are your thoughts on how we should proceed through this nebula? And you're just gonna be like, yeah, you're like, well, first of all, I think you should really consider the cultural implications of this. And then it's like, oh, 1 second, I'm gonna need to get my stabbing in for today.
It would start to
Yeah,
overlap, though, wouldn't it? Because it's
And then,
every
like,
14 hours on a 24-hour day.
yeah, you'd have
and,
it.
like,
You'd have it twice a day, and one day you'd have it 3 times a day, every so often.
Here's a fun idea. What if their planet is actually on a 28-hour day, and that's the reason it's every 14 hours? It's
Well, they
only
should've.
inconvenient,
Right.
Paris.
Beijo
Yeah,
is
they
26.
should have explained that, when they got it. It's like, I'd be willing to get it an extra, like,
Hey,
a little bit more often if you could just bump that time
That's a nice
scale
Yeah,
down
like,
so it
orange
would be
make it
at the
every
same
12
time
hours.
every day.
Ooh, directed by LeVar Burton.
oh wow.
Good
Really?
Explains why it's
LeVar
By
bad.
Mr. Reading Rainbow himself.
I wish I was LeVar Burton.
Wait,
Why?
there's 2 computers on this desk now.
Yeah, they have a laptop.
It has, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons.
Wow,
And it
5
doesn't
buttons.
close.
That's all you need in the future. It beats. If it was made by Apple, it would only have 1 button.
That is.
It is,
Oh god,
it
I
is
love
fu-
that Onion video about the MacBook wheel where it's just the
Yeah.
entire thing is just a wheel and you have to click it so many
And you
times.
have to,
but-
that's how you type.
Yeah,
The iPhone doesn't even
there's
have
nothing
a button
simpler
anymore.
than one giant button.
I'm glad we got
Well,
past that
did you
phase
see-
of making all PC hardware that awful color of grey.
No, now
Apple
everything's that
in
awful every
2016
color.
In
RGB.
2016, Apple ditched all the ports, and they ditched the function row, and they ditched all sorts of features on the laptop. And now this year, the new MacBook, they brought all this stuff back because they realized that people really didn't like that, and people
that's
really wanted a
bravery.
function row.
We don't want dongles.
And they were like, "Oh, we have a new feature. We have a function row, and we have an
Yeah.
SD card slot, and we
And
have a monitor
MagSafe.
port." And but they forget to mention that they're the ones that removed it in the first place.
Yeah. It's really funny here that the doctor considered the names Galen, who was a Greek physician, and also Salk, who discovered the polio vaccine.
Galen is also the guy who designed the Death Star.
I like Dr. Spock. Did Spock get a doctorate, or is this a different Spock?
There's also Dr.
It's a
Benjamin
different
Spock,
spot.
who was a child
He almost
psychologist.
certainly has a
children.
doctorate.
Oh yeah, the child psychologist Benjamin Spock.
Ah, neodextrolane solution, of course.
I like him just erroneously suggesting that Spock.
Kim is like O'Brien in this series, especially in the first season, because in a future episode he gets to be in the afterlife for another people mummified.
Kim's
Is
like
that
a
a
massive
hat or is that
overachiever.
just their
It's-
head?
That's not as relatable
I
as
think those
O'Brien
are
is.
hats.
They have cabbage hats.
They had SD back then. They were not expecting people to watch it on HD and critique it like this.
Tolan's one looks like a hat, but the one on the other guy looks like his head.
Kind of reminds me of the Kazon hair and face.
I feel like
Maybe they're related.
The design of these aliens is kind of half-assed, where like they have the normal prostheses and stuff, but they also like just wear suits and
Oh,
have
Doc.
earth doorknobs and dogs.
Well, I would argue that if they have hands, like normal human hands, that they would probably develop similar interfaces for things like doors that we
What
would.
What did they do to that dog? Did they shock it with static electricity to get its hair to do that? It needs a
I think
brushing.
it's just kind of
No,
I
it's
think
just
the dog's just like that.
I don't think
I
the
think
dog
it's a
is like
little
that. I
wet.
think it just needs brushing and a wash.
Yeah.
Ideally in the opposite order.
It was looking like that at the beginning too, when we had the black and white video of the murder. Like it was just frazzled.
I like the idea of them shocking the dog with static like electrocuting the dog.
And it just rubbed some balloons on it.
I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to actually
Just
like
said she's
shock
gonna
it by
take-
sticking a fork in an outlet. You can like put its paw in a plasma ball or something.
She just said she's going to take yesterday's leftovers and put it in the stew.
Oh,
why not?
yeah.
That's how you make soup.
That's
most of the time.
recycling.
Oh, I like
Depending
that
on what
closet.
the leftovers are, you can make like a pizza soup or a steak soup.
Yeah, you throw those leftovers in a
Waffle
pot
soup.
and you got yourself a stew.
Yeah.
I mean-
Pizza stew sounds awful. honestly.
Uh-oh.
Did
What
you,
was
like-
I
Yeah.
would
was
eat a
Paris
pizza
looking at?
soup. The pizza
Hey, that
soup
dog is
sounds
hilarious.
delicious.
That dog looks cold.
Yeah. But it looks so small in that shot.
Like a
Bark,
pizza
bark.
soup with like some dumplings and some cheese in it and some within like a tomato
Why do
broth.
they-
That sounds delicious. Maybe some
I don't
like diced
sorry.
vegetables.
That's
The
not
heads
true.
are covered in feathers, aren't they? Those are feathers, right?
If a dog is hungry
Maybe
enough,
they
it will
just-
eat something spoiled.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
No, probably not.
I don't
So
have
I'm
dogs.
looking at other pictures of dogs of that same breed. That's definitely not just their hair. The dogs have normal fur. They
probably
just did
found one in
something.
a
Make it
shelter
look
that
like
was
an alien
really
dog.
messed up.
They rubbed it with like mineral oil just to make
Oh,
it look more
it
alien.
has
They
like
rubbed
a
some
mohawk.
Leola root on it.
The dog has a mohawk starting on its head and going down its back. So I think they like got some shampoo or some hair gel and like spiked it up with their hands.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And they got the smallest one they could find. This is before small dogs were even like trendy.
They're trendy.
Like when Paris Hilton put one in her purse, it became like a fashion accessory, unfortunately.
Oh, I guess the lieutenant commander thing on YouTube looks a little like a face. Kind of some spooky eyes, but works out.
Wait, did she say the meat doesn't taste right, so she just fed it to the dog?
Yeah.
The last time we saw a scientist with a gorgeous wife was the Mannheim effect, right?
What was the that happened to know Picard, right? What was the breed of this dog? Is this a Yorkie?
No, it's not a Yorkie. Let me look it up again.
More like a dorky.
It's a
Yorkie's a-
Chihuahua Brussels Griffin cross. Chihuahua and Brussels Griffin.
Nah,
It's like
Yorkie's a
the
I don't even
runt
know.
of the
Chamorro.
litter.
Never heard of that.
It's not good for animals to be.
I've never heard of a Brussels Griffin, but you know, apparently that's one half of what the dog is. Not a
Which
Yorkie.
Animals should be that
Sounds
small
like two different dogs on the same.
and bred to be like as small as possible. It causes all kinds of problems.
I mean, I got a, well, technically I don't anymore. My parents got a Yorkie, and she just lives forever.
Still alive?
That 900-year-old dog.
Small animals could have a good lifespan if you feed them good and take them to the vet.
As long as you get them on a healthy diet of pizza soup.
Ah.
Mm, pizza soup.
Well, it'd be really be more like a stew, but that's okay.
But
Depends how
for
long
example,
you boil it for, right?
French
Boil it right
toast.
down. It's basically
is-
solid.
French toast is often made with like yesterday's bread because
And you could have
we
a
don't
French
know.
toast soup.
Oh. What would be
Yeah.
the base for the soup? What broth
Liquefied
would you
French
insert
bread.
your French toast?
Neelix and Kess have like really great outfits this first season.
In episode 1, Neelix had that giant fur coat.
Yeah.
Can the soup be a broth or no? I mean, can you have broth instead of any
Yeah,
other
broth has
soup?
bone in it, like a good deal of bone.
Bone broth.
Yeah,
Unless you get vegetable broth.
true.
Then it has vegetable bones.
Yeah.
About beef? How about like beef broth or chicken broth?
Janeway's face, I feel
And
that
I'm
right
sure they have
now.
bones.
Well, why is she angry? What's going on here?
Because he has a really annoying laugh, that's why.
This is the point where he's still not really liked that much by the crew, right? Like,
Yes.
he's
He
still
also
like an
did,
annoying.
like 2 episodes ago,
crazy
take
man.
over her private dining room without her permission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we want to get Tom off the planet, you could use one of your ship's giant guns.
Yeah, I want to see an
A
episode
warship,
where
please.
eventually, eventually
Yes.
they're just like, fuck it, we're going with the violent solution right off the bat.
Yes. When diplomacy fails, force must be applied. It's
Yeah,
the
what
Starfleet
is
The
way.
that?
same
form
ships that
of
we've seen a million
diplomacy.
times.
Do you think it would be like a good
Wait, is that a triangle? That's a
yes,
triangle.
a triangle hoe.
Triangle ho! That's
Raise
51
my-
triangles. We made it, boys.
51.
Congratulations.
We did it. Yes, Numeri patrol
Yes.
ship number 51.
Congratulations, Ryan.
attention.
Long have I sought this
Beautiful.
day.
Ryan, you
Ryan
really paid
didn't-
attention there.
What?
I guess it was easy. I guess it was easily seen because sometimes we miss it.
I don't think I've ever missed a triangle ship.
You've never missed a triangle ship.
How dare you imply that I wouldn't be paying attention to a triangle?
Yeah, I think
No,
he never
don't.
loses his lets down his guard.
Mahoy's on the lookout.
guess not.
You know what's interesting?
Okay.
This is like normally the best outcome Voyager could hope for, but it's even better than humans would give. Like humans wouldn't be like, they'd be like, "You're not coming in our territory. Go somewhere else."
They want
Yeah.
something. They have a plan.
I mean, I know what the plan is because I've seen this episode before.
Okay.
This
Yeah, I've seen
episode
the
is
series before.
like I liked it as a kid, but you know I was a teenager. Now looking back, it's like I really wouldn't sit down and go through this because
I'm not
Yeah,
going
it's
off
really
the
kind
kitchen.
of a contrived
Oh.
circumstance that led to this episode.
I mean, actually, you know what? Later though, I watched A Clockwork Orange, directed by Stanley Kubrick, and it has a similar premise. Like, how much can doctors in society brainwash a person for a crime?
What condiments are in those little bottles?
Yeah, but in the Clock Orange, like it doesn't work.
Yeah,
This guy's got like peacock feathers in his head. I
And
love
What
it.
if we had what if they're like, we gave him the harshest punishment in accordance with our law, like we made him eat chocolate ice cream and go to Hawaii. Can scarcely
Hawaii,
imagine
is that
a
worse than
worse
beautiful New
possible
Zealand?
fate.
You think he's thinking that right now? I should have just stayed in New Zealand.
I was like, how many? Yeah, like how many times has Tom Paris had to like he got like Janeway let him out of prison, and then when he was on Voyager, he just got imprisoned like 6 more times.
yeah.
The little rabble rouser, so he is.
What if instead of just waiting until the crew broke him out, he was just like, yeah, I'll join your crew if you get me released on like a year early or something.
Yeah, at this point he doesn't have any loyalty to the crew, surely.
Sorry, I'm changing my smoke detectors.
Ah.
I thought that was my onions.
Your
No,
onions?
no.
Ogres.
Thanks.
Time to change them up.
Why would your
God,
onions scream like that?
That's exactly what a guilty guy would say.
So 2 things.
I don't
One,
know.
they don't let him iron his uniform in prison.
They don't
Or
let him
wherever he
comb
is.
his hair in
And don't
prison.
give him a hair comb.
And 2, speaking of changing batteries, I had a carbon monoxide, well, I still have a carbon monoxide detector, and it was beeping at me super loud. If you've never heard a carbon monoxide
those
detector
are
go off,
crazy
it is
loud.
painful to listen to. I was on the other side of the house, and it hurt.
Wow.
Meant to be to wake you up out of a carbon monoxide
I know,
induced
but
stupor.
apparently
It's meant
the
to make you
warning,
up.
I was like, okay, well, there's no carbon monoxide, otherwise it would be a continuous thing. So okay, let me change the batteries. I changed the
The
batteries,
battery is dying.
and then it keeps beeping super loud. Apparently, when it's end of life, it does that. You have to replace it, or it'll just keep beeping no matter what, like every 30 seconds.
It's like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, and you just change the batteries and walk away. Help, I'm gonna die.
I was once dog sitting for my cousin, and their smoke detector on like the top of a vaulted ceiling started going off like that, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Jesus.
Why is Tom, like, in recounting the story, talking like a 50s noir detective?
Because that's how
Like,
he
she was
imagines
supposed to
himself.
be.
He was looking at
started
she was
on a
looking at
dark
the
and stormy
sky.
night. It is a noir episode.
And now
This
the
isn't what
question
really
here is,
happened. This is just what Tom Paris imagines happened.
Is it a real cigar or some kind of prop cigar?
Well,
Probably,
she's a femme fatale, so that's a real cigar.
It's probably just a piece of paper. Cigar from Cuba or just light it for the look. I don't light
She
it.
walked in on a dark night. All legs. 7
And it
or
was
8
black and white,
legs.
too.
Way too many.
She didn't choose just legs and was unable to communicate with me.
The pair of legs ambulating.
The
The legs
epitome of
aren't
a
even-
terrible transporter accident.
The legs aren't even attached to a pelvis. It's unknown how they're even able to walk.
It's a hologram.
Well, if I'm thinking of Toy Story now, where there's that toy that's just 2 pairs of legs and like a hook.
The spider?
No, just 2 pairs of legs and a hook.
Oh, yeah.
Well, 1 pair of legs, technically. 2 legs.
Yeah.
It's one of the creations of the guy, the bully
Yeah,
next
Sid.
door, or
It's
whatever.
actually a fishing line or something, right? That's the hook.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a reel from like a tow truck or something.
Yeah.
'Cause you get it? He made a hooker. Get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Why
I love how like innocent she is in the Minority. Oh, Minority Report also smacks of this, which is of course an Isaac Asimov novel, and this precedes the Tom Cruise movie, which is also a great sci-fi film.
So there is an
Wouldn't
actual
they-
answer to this that's going to come up later. Well, why is there writing in his dream sequence? It seems to imply to me that like Tolar was wearing Google Glass or something.
It's so that you can torture the visually impaired.
The subtitles.
or the
The hearing impaired. The hearing impaired.
Yeah.
Because back then, when you took a photo or a video on a camcorder, it automatically timestamped the date in the bottom right-hand corner. So audiences were just used to that for VCR, VHS.
Yeah, these aliens actually timestamp their own memories.
You're not to leave orbit with him. What are you gonna do if they do leave orbit? You're gonna catch up with Voyager? I don't think so. They can just leave.
If that were our justice system, they'd be like, "No, he's guilty. Go away."
Well, you can appeal if you have.
Yeah, but like, imagine some aliens rock up on your planet and are like, "This guy's innocent, and we're gonna prove it." You'd be like, "No, go away."
The trial's already over. You can't retry it. Jesus.
That would
What are we
honestly be a good episode where like an alien goes to Starfleet jail and then like the alien equivalent of Tuvok teams up with like Commander Riker to prove
to escape New Zealand? Why? Why would you want to?
They would rather get stabbed in their mind every 14 hours and then stay in New Zealand.
Do you think it would be a good episode where like the Voyager's going through space and stuff and they like find a problem and you just like are terrible at solving it? Like, I don't know, like they just like blow up a ship that didn't need to get blown up, and then the rest of the episode is that just them like thinking about all the stuff they did wrong.
I don't think the Voyager crew tend to reflect on their actions like that because they don't have time to.
It's because it's not a serialized show, and you're
When they
expected to
get
generally
to-
watch most of these episodes in any order.
Yeah. What's that expanse called again? The one that's just nothing? Is it the Necrid
Expanse?
expanse? No, not the expanse. That's a different thing.
The Delphic.
So these autonomic response lie detector tests have been proven to be of dubious reliability. Even
But these are future lie
now.
detectors.
Yeah, they're
But
not
it
allowed
works
in
on the same
courts.
principle. You'd think that they would know.
They probably went, he's
That-
an alien, he's guilty.
Well,
Humans
Robo,
can't
you might like
lie.
the fact that when Tuvok requested that, the doctor rolled his eyes as he went to go get it.
He's like, oh.
Granted, he
no,
always
it's
rolls
okay.
his eyes when people ask him for things, but still.
But here's the thing: an experienced interrogator for the police, he or she can do an amazing thing by giving someone a polygraph, even if it's not scientifically accurate. The idea that you are putting somebody through a scientific analysis kind of freaks them out, especially guilty people.
It's all to do with like how much you sweat and how fast your heart
Mhm.
beats. If you're just nervous, that makes you out to be guilty.
They do a baseline. So like first they ask you stuff that they know is just like, is your name Argos?
Mhm.
Are you from Earth?
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Are
if you're
you
just
a
nervous
human?
because you're
And
being
then-
interrogated, like, you know.
Yeah, but they would
That's
be
that's
in the
why they do the
baseline.
baseline.
Yeah.
You'd be nervous during the baseline, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're just got clammy hands." So
I don't
No,
like
but-
this
So wait,
murderer's
this sounds like
skirt.
you're arguing in favor of the polygraph now after arguing against it. So are you for or against its veracity?
No, it's
Okay.
bad. It's just not
Actually,
that bad. They
sure
thought it
both
through.
are
It's just
very
it just doesn't actually work.
oh, now she's trying to seduce.
Yes,
Uh,
now we will
Tuvok.
frame
Is
fucking
Is she trying to
Tuvok
seduce,
for
or is she
murder.
just doing a traditional evil lounge?
He's trying to
Yeah.
seduce him to throw him off the track. She knows she's in trouble.
She begged Tom to stop before he stabbed her husband with a knife.
And, well, as far as we know, that's what she did.
She's so innocent.
Uh-huh. She's clearly the victim in all this. The real victim is Nika, who's gonna get rehomed after this.
Do we ever get to see Tuvok's wife?
Yeah. Yeah, we see her on the
Yeah.
holodeck.
I just realized it's so
yeah,
strange.
We see her in that episode.
We see
It's
her
so
when
strange
the doctor is trying to cure the Ponfar by, you know.
Yeah.
So how many times
It's
do we
just-
see her? Do we see her twice or no?
Maybe
Not
twice.
talking about on the same episode.
There might be twice. Yes.
Twice, okay. I think it's twice too.
It's so strange when the episode started, the little dog barks at the scientist, but that's his home. Why is he barking when, you know?
Is that an
his
actual
owners-
question, or are you doing some
Well, that was
foreshadowing?
one
Because
of
that's
the-
going to be a plot point.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was going to
okay.
say that.
It's a
Isn't that
question.
clear?
If that's a real question, then, give it like 15 minutes and we'll answer that question.
Okay. Thanks.
Feminine intuition is not admissible in court.
Actually, alien feminine intuition.
I
Wow.
She's
Shouldn't her
trying to see
feathers
different
have like
part.
some coating on them, like the birds have, or should or won't get
She's
wet?
what,
They'll just
slightly
run straight
waterproof?
off. Yeah.
whoa.
I can't tell.
This
whether
kind of
she's
thing in
waterproof
my
on
Star
that.
Trek.
This
This
looks
isn't
like the set
family
that they
friendly.
used for the one
Alan
when
Ryan's
Data
Star
lost
Trek.
his memory, and like he ends up in that desert town.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that guy's grandfather is buried in those mountains?
Yes. Next to the aqueduct.
Yep.
Oh,
What
I
did
remember
your
that episode.
grandfather ever do for us? The aqueduct? What?
The aqueducts, the roads.
Water's pretty important, you know? Like, try going a few days without water and see what happens.
I'd rather
I love the
not.
Picard speech
Yeah.
at the end of that episode. Like, when he just goes and reads the agreement to the Sheliak,
Yes.
and they just go away.
Furthermore,
being
pursuant to
This is a
Section 3,
loophole
subsection
where-
47.
Yeah, he says
Like,
like
that's like-
we can appoint a neutral third party to arbitrate our dispute. He's
The
the one
Grisella.
And they're
that's
like
going to be
sleeping
speaking
for 6
2
months.
Yeah, I think it's like 7 years.
No, it's just months.
Do you think that was like
This
some kind
was-
of in joke? They were like, okay, we're gonna get someone to read out some random legalese in an episode, and that was it.
It was good legalese.
Yeah, I think
in any
that's
case.
actually like one of the best episode endings. At least in the first few seasons. Like, it's in season 2, right?
It's such a curveball because it had nothing to do with, Data convincing the colonists to
Like,
leave.
they just gave up on that, and they're like, okay, we're gonna attack the Sheliak with legal.
Yeah, we're just gonna make this random romance story between
Yeah, I
Data
don't
and
know
this
if it
random
was-
girl.
I don't know
Picard
if
has some of the best threats. He threatens the Sheliak with arbitration. He threatens Ardra with a courtroom. And he threatens... Oh god, who's the other one? Oh, he threatens the Klingon Junior Adjutant with betrayal and a coup.
And
Oh,
also,
the Klingon episodes
They
are
would have
so good.
our gratitude.
he has the best carrots too, because it's like one Klingon or Romulan ship's like, well, what do we get if we help you? Because you will have my gratitude.
Yeah, that's
And
what
I love the episodes.
I'm sure there
when
are others
Duras
in the
and
Empire
Gowron
who
came
would
on
be
the
willing
ship.
to help me. Then they would have our gratitude.
He basically
What a
says
lie.
to the guy, if you don't cooperate, I'm going to cause a coup in the Klingon Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not a
TNG really
violation
has
of
its
the Prime
moments.
Directive to threaten to violate the Prime Directive.
Well, is it a Prime Directive violation when it's a war-capable species?
To cause an internal strife in the Empire? Yes, absolutely. It's a violation of the Prime Directive.
Is it
Yeah,
though?
it's
'Cause
still
Klingon-
interference,
The Prime
but
Directive is also
that's-
to not interfere with the internal politics of another civilization.
yeah,
Doesn't
but
matter.
that's why they have Section 31.
Yeah.
Two
They do it
triangles.
for them.
Okay, wait, this counts as plus
Oh.
one because one of those we've seen before.
You're in triangle.
Are we
So
sure?
that's
Are
plus
we
one
sure it's the
triangles.
same one?
I have
Are
to
you
err on
sure
the
one
side
of
of
them's a
caution. I
triangle
wouldn't want to
Ships has
overcount
been
triangles.
reset. No, it's not being reset.
We're up to 52 triangles. I'm going to assume that one of those was the same triangle.
Why is
No, it's
Neelix
got- it's
sitting
got-
in Chakotay in like the right hand
It's a
chair is the
ship.
first officer one, right?
He's first officer now, haven't you been keeping up?
Yeah, he's really been working his way through the ranks.
Yeah.
And
He
Where
I
is-
assassinated
where is
Chakotay,
Chakotay?
took his
Oh.
job.
He's not
Oh,
in Chakotay's
Chakotay's at the
seat.
helm because Paris is currently getting stabbed in the stomach.
Neelix
Okay.
isn't
Oh,
in
yeah.
Chakotay's seat though. He's in the side seat.
He's turned
Yeah.
back around and he's in
So
Captain
why does
Janeway's seat.
Chakotay sit on the left side?
Wait, both of the
Captain
forward
Neelix.
stations are empty. Where's the other person?
Well, they're also being
No,
sta-
there's only
they're
really
also
ever
being
one
tried
forward
for
station.
murder.
How would you formally address Neelix? What's his surname? Is that his surname?
He
Is that
doesn't
his
have
only name?
he's just Neelix.
I'm pretty sure in that Lifter
So-
episode where he eventually dresses Tuvok down, he talks about his sister and she has like a proper full name.
Maybe he just didn't
So
tell
was
anyone
Tom
because he
Paris-
is really like out of place and like it wouldn't be received well on Voyager. Like his full name is like I don't know, Bin Laden Neelix.
Oh, Neelix, I hate
Was
Voyager.
was Tom Paris being uncharacteristically noble with the dude's wife, or is it just me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Being a
Like, is that
homewrecker
the
is
whole
not
thing
being
fake?
noble.
Paragon of how to treat other people.
What exactly
He's
was the
great.
trick? They just
I
shot
don't
them a
know.
whole. What was the trick?
It was
That
very
was
tricky
pretend.
shooting.
It was pretend to be injured, but you're actually not.
But what difference would
Yeah,
that
but
make?
like, why didn't they just shoot them?
They could, yeah.
Because they wanted to develop Chakotay's character and then just didn't bother doing it for the rest of the seasons.
Chakotay knows how to drive.
He also knows how to fly a shuttle. I mean, Tom is good, but Chakotay can do it too.
Yep.
Some of my favorite episodes from the early seasons are the Tuvok investigation ones, because he has like 2 or 3 of them.
He's
Yeah.
always
Just
trying to
kinda-
mind meld with people. Like
they
he's
just
just
kinda
mind
stop.
melding all over the place.
Yeah.
Tuvok's a very promiscuous guy. He would have you believe that he isn't, but he's mind melding everywhere.
In
It's
other
like, I
shows,
need
they
to
kind
keep
of
a
imply that a
practice,
mind meld is an extremely intimate act, only done on rare occasions, and Tuvok just does it with everyone.
Yeah.
He's into it.
Tuvok's like,
yeah,
oh,
and
you got a sore
Tuvok
head?
like
Mind
goes
meld.
crazy at the end of the Voyager, right? So
You got the sniffles? Let's do a mind meld. Come on, let's
He even
do it.
did a mind meld with Rima Wormtongue, yes.
Just a little mind meld. We'll be fine.
It's like that alien from that got Trip Tucker pregnant. It's just a game we play. It's fine.
No, it's just a mind meld.
Wait, what was that
The game we
episode?
play.
Can someone
One
give
when
me
they
a
put their hands
synopsis
in the
of the
marbles.
Enterprise unwanted pregnancy episode?
Trip Tucker goes to an alien ship to fix their engine, and then a woman rapes him, but it's funny because he's a man, so it's okay. And then he gets pregnant.
This was 2001.
And
That's
everybody laughs at
completely
him,
insane.
including the captain
Yep.
and the captain of a Klingon ship.
Tucker because he's pregnant, he starts making suggestions like, maybe this elevator, the handrails shouldn't make you cut off your hand as the elevator rises. And then everyone brushes him off as being a crazy pregnant person.
It's true. That episode is so weird now.
See, that's why I haven't really taken a look at Enterprise yet.
Most of Enterprise is really good. But,
Yeah.
there's a couple of
oh, and there's
questionables.
the weird episodes with Porthos in the sick bay.
That's not weird.
He's
It's
just sitting there.
It's just filler.
Yeah, but then there's that like weird subplot with T'Pol
With
and
the chainsaw.
Archer.
T'Pol and Archer. Oh,
Why
Yeah,
would you?
and
oh.
Like, if you
like,
were Tom,
I
why
forgot
would you
about
do
that.
I think it's called like A Night in Sick Bay or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
the
if you
worst
were Tom-
episode in history.
We just
What, the
beam
one
this
with
guy into
Porthos and-
space. Like that would be the easiest way to get rid of him now.
So, Tuvok, did you see the subtitles, or? I assume he saw the subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how was your mind meld, Tuvok? Did it go good?
How you feeling,
You took
Tuvi?
it.
Yeah, so Starfleet doesn't have Miranda rights when it comes to a mind meld. Okay.
It's hard to read
And they
someone
just remove
their
them?
rights when they're in a coma.
His eyes were open, right?
And they just remove the implants. We've got the best doctor around.
Yeah. I'm surprised they were even able to get him in there, considering how radically different human brain physiology must be.
They just threw them in there and hoped that it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying they're going to remove the implants. Seemed good.
Also on the shuttlecraft, a fusion bomb that will be detonated if you do not comply.
Warning. Danger in your palm.
End transmission.
Don't they send a
So-
remote shuttlecraft?
I don't
We're all
know.
assuming Tom's guilty, huh?
He's
Oh, he
looking
totally,
awfully-
he totally. This seems very much in character for Tom.
He's guilty of
Paris.
being a homewrecker. Just maybe not of murder.
He's looking awfully like put together for a guy who dies every 14 hours.
Well, that's what the makeup team will do. The ship has a
The
makeup
doctor's
team as
like, all right, come over. Let's get you set up for your trial.
You gotta look nice for the jury.
It's actually definitely true. Like, if you look all smart for a jury, you are definitely more likely to be
What is that depth of
given
field
an
across the
innocent
screen?
verdict.
Like half of Chakotay's face is blurry.
Hmm.
Now, is that the same triangle or is that a different triangle?
It's a different color.
I think you're gonna go have a 0.5.
I don't want a 0.5.
I think it's the same triangle. I don't know.
Did they actually blow up the other ones or just ward them off?
They
I think
disabled
they
them.
just disabled them.
You try not to add a triangle ship to the triangle ship counter right now.
I don't want to be overzealous in my triangles. The first duty of every triangle counter is to the truth. Bye.
So okay, so is the triangle ship trying to capture every triangle ship, or just every appearance of a triangle ship?
Every
We don't get too
every
many
unique
duplicate
triangle
appearances.
ship.
I think if you go back, there will be times when we've counted the same triangle ship.
Technically speaking, every
In the
unique
early
triangle
days of
ship
the overzealous
is
triangle
one.
counting, you know.
It's all the
We
same.
never counted the same triangle twice in an episode.
Well, you did though, because they're all the same prop. Well, not prop,
That-
but model, right?
Okay, yes, technically, every count of the triangle ship is a copy because they're all the same ship. But that's not what I mean.
That's the point, isn't it? The point counting triangle ships.
Well,
The whole point
it's
is it's
like,
the same model.
Yeah.
Captain Jellicoe over here. Like we put mines on the belly of your Galler class starship, my finger's on the button, and you're in a very bad position.
Oh yeah.
What would happen if we shot him and stunned Tom Paris before the cycle? Would that prevent it? Would that be fine?
Yeah.
I mean, his brain would be simply dreaming it more vividly.
What if you took his brain out completely?
He'll be fine. Don't worry about him.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Probably. I need to get going. I'll see you next week, though. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.
Oh yeah, by the way, not to jinx anything for the third episode, but we have not lost connection to YouTube yet. Everything's fine.
Yay.
Not yet.
I don't think
OBS is
yesterday was a
cooperating.
problem on my end. I think there was something just screwy with the YouTube intake server. Everything's okay.
If you saw Minority Report, that's the thing. You can't rely on technology to
Yeah.
put somebody away from murder. Well, I mean, there's DNA evidence.
Okay, so Tom Paris was is too tall to be the murderer.
Yeah. Hard to
Well,
believe
Tom
them.
Paris did have some time with Mrs. Wren here. He might have known anatomy.
Wish this was
Yeah,
on
here's the
Netflix,
subtitles.
it's not.
Phenomenon. This is where one of you jumps in and goes do 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 do.
Do 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 do.
Close enough.
I think
Aren't we
I've
doing the
seen this movie,
Nardwar
I've
thing?
seen it.
You have a very highbrow audience, Ryan.
No, I don't.
We don't just make do 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 sounds.
Yes, you do. I have to stop you from singing on my stream.
Highbrow.
Don't worry about it. Right. I don't sing either. I can't sing.
Okay. Oh, we found the murderer.
Your weird bird headpiece. The toupee on it.
Ugh.
Though, of course, birds
Is
aren't
the same
real,
height
so
as hers.
it's, just aesthetic.
Wait, is it really going to be the dog?
No, the dog isn't the murderer, but yes, we're bringing in the dog. Why did the
It's a
dog
witness.
bark
Dog is a
at Mr.
witness.
Wren as he entered? That's a question we're answering right now.
Pretty good direction, LeVar.
Do they refer to this dog as a girl when it's clearly
I don't know.
a
It's
boy?
Mika. Don't worry about it. Also, you don't know. It's an alien dog.
Oh, really? It was a victimless crime, huh? Okay.
I don't know. I think because we're on Team Voyager, we're like, yeah, we stuck it to him, boys. But I don't think these guys would really believe Tuvok just kind of ranting about this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
As you can
it's
see,
like
Tuvok is too tall to be a murderer. Okay.
Except in that episode.
I mean, yes, they very readily accept Tuvok's explanation without any type of
No, they don't buy any of
They
it
have
until
people to
verification.
verify, but nope. Not gonna.
You know, have you ever
they
noticed
ask him
how
twice, Are we
impractical
supposed to take you for your word?
you notice how impractical the tables are in Voyager's mess hall? Like this little valley in the center that makes it impossible to place anything there because it's gonna tip over. I hate it. I hate it. There should be like glass there or something. Just make it flat.
Maybe there is glass there.
There isn't because he set the pad and it's clearly just laying in the valley.
Maybe he's so strong he broke the glass.
Okay.
You know, this is a really great scene because Paris feels like everyone's gonna assume that he was guilty, and people did for the most part, including his best friend Harry. And Tuvok bailed him out, and he just points out, "Look, like you eat alone at lunch, and it's kind of a sad thing." So he volunteers to be his cafeteria buddy.
It's Chadich.
Everybody's got a chud each these days. All right, now it's time to kill Harry Kim.
Oh.
Oh, so the
Okay.
woman that comes in this episode, I think it's like she plays 3 different people in all of Star Trek.
Yeah.
She
All right,
plays
everyone
Dr.
queue up for
Solar,
Emanations.
Only 3?
The
like-
next emanation.
that I'm sure of. So she plays Dr.
Emanation.
Solar in TNG. She plays Worf's wife in TNG.
Oh. That's her?
Oh,
And
wow.
I think there's supposed to be one more. I think she's on
She
Deep
plays a
Space Nine.
female Q if that's the same if that's the same actress, yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. So like 4 different characters. She's almost the same as Marco Lema.
What's her name? Susie Plaxton?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was her. Interesting. Well, yeah, everyone queue up for that. Should be good.
Is this
Yeah,
the one where Harry Kim goes to the afterlife but not the afterlife?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's this was.
And everybody
really
press
stupid
play
episode.
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Last episode for the day. No crashes.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
leave
missed
a little
it.
early.
No.
It's almost 12 p.m. here, so good night.
Have a good night.
Good night. You mean 12 a.m.?
Bye. No, he
it's
goes to bed
PM,
just
I'm-
before noon. It's just before 0.
I love this start because we have 192 elements, and Star Trek is up to 270, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I
you'd
mean-
expect they made a bit of progress in that front.
You can make arbitrarily large elements, it's just a matter of stability. And
Well, and she says
Difficulty.
this is naturally occurring, which is a whole different thing than the lab stuff.
I find it somewhat unlikely
How do
that
they
there are
have atmospheres?
247 naturally occurring elements.
Yeah.
At some point, they're too hard to make. Like, they literally require more energy than you get in a supernova to merge.
Well, they just found one in the rings of a planet, so.
So they keep using the phrase like, "We'll need to make room on the periodic table," and it's like, but you've got you know, 6
You don't
protons.
make room; they go
And you
after.
got 7 protons. What goes in between? Yeah, but like they
6.5
say that
protons.
though. They say you can't have 6 protons.
Maybe
like,
on
the
their
way we
future periodic table, they include all isotopes.
Maybe. Well, all
Are you trying to
isotopes?
tell me we have almost completed the periodic table?
So you
I'm
change the
telling you, there's
periodic
sort of an
table from
upper
a
limit to
table
how
to
many
like a
protons you can stick
three-dimensional,
together.
perfectly
a
happy for there to
three-dimensional
be more, but
graphic.
not naturally
So
occurring.
the isotopes become the z-axis instead of moving on the x and y, you just move on the z-axis.
For anyone here who's still in middle school and still going through middle school science, an element is what you get when you stick different numbers of protons together. 1 proton is hydrogen, 2 protons is helium, 3 protons is I already forget. Carbon is 7.
14?
6.
6,
Who
7.
knows?
I don't know. Who
8?
cares?
I think it's 8.
It's
8.
6.
Eight.
That's why it's perfect for making life.
Look,
and
we
It's
said
got
4.
a massive.
Wait,
We
no,
said
isn't
4,
it
6,
12,
7,
Wait.
8, and
No,
9.
oxygen's
It's one of
8.
those.
Oxygen's 8. That's the one.
It's not 12 protons, it's an atomic weight of 12, right?
If it's an atomic weight of 12, that would imply it has 6 protons, because usually, not always, but usually it has the same number of neutrons.
Yeah.
You know, I could just look up carbon. I mean, we're not doing
I'm
anything.
gonna
It's
go
like
to
atomic
the
number of
periodic
6.
table.
There you
Atomic
go.
number of 6 is carbon.
That's why life comes from that 6.
And then the highest naturally occurring is like in the 80s, I think. 80 protons
Yeah.
stuck together.
What's the heaviest naturally occurring element that we've
Osmium.
discovered? What do we use that for?
It's a metal.
Well, it might.
Well-
It's not the highest atomic
not-
number element, but it's the densest metal we have, I think.
Yeah.
Osmium is used on Enterprise to line the warp nacelles.
Wow.
It's
Yeah, but
some
what do
kind
we
of
use it for?
osmium alloy. I don't bloody know.
Do we use it like some arbitrary amount of it in phones or other electronic devices?
Let me Google osmium uses. It's
know,
used
I
to,
think it's-
to
it's a
produce very
fictional
hard alloys for
alloy.
fountain pen tips, instrument pivots, needles, and electrical contacts.
Ah, okay.
And it's atomic number 76, if the periodic table's names make any sense.
You know, I hate to leave you guys early, but I'll probably be jumping out soon. But I've always really liked this episode because it deals with the afterlife and, well, what would you do if you found out that that the light at the end of the tunnel was just the dopamine being dumped in your brain before you died? But
Dude,
the
I
thing
found
is,
that
though,
out in middle school.
hmm
Well, they also talk about the fact that there is an energy field where they're being dumped, so like they don't know
Yeah.
whether there is some kind of afterlife, but it's just a neural energy activity.
Yeah.
But the Starfleet crew is always mindful to say, look, like materially, yeah, you're not where you thought you were, but we're not denying that, there still might be another kind of afterlife.
Yeah, it's unclear
So they allow them to cope.
in Star Trek if there's an actual spiritual afterlife for different species.
Yeah,
There
they
might
seem
be.
to remain skeptical, but are open to the possibility.
You just gets
Gene
to play with
Roddenberry
your mind.
definitely didn't want there to be one.
I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I could not care less what Gene Roddenberry wanted for the series. What matters
That's
is what the
fine,
series
that's fine.
is.
I'm just pointing it out.
Okay.
Also, television was still relatively censored. Audiences were conservative. You couldn't just have something with a straight up atheist overtone on TV back then, I would say. Like,
I think Next
That's not true.
Generation, they kind of explicitly state they're like, humans gave up beliefs and religions a long time ago. Like they multiple times they state that in Next
Yeah, I mean,
Generation.
Picard
The dark
does say
ages
though
of
that-
superstition
Picard
and ignorance
does,
and
yeah,
fear.
but-
Yeah,
They
Picard
don't-
gets
Picard
very
says he-
angry in the Who Watches the Watchers episode because the one anthropologist suggests that they lean into him being the overseer to fix the problems, and Picard's like, "No, I'm not going to push these people back into religion and superstition just to fix our problem."
The overseer.
True.
The overseer. So he could beam down with his commandments and say, "Attention, Mintakan workers. I have a new rule for you."
He pulls out
Say
the
good
10
stuff.
Commandments.
I feel like we
But,
need more than 10. That doesn't feel
They're
like
all just
enough.
mine harder.
I mean, there
But-
aren't 10 in the Bible either. There's like 600 something.
613.
Yeah, but like if you just kind of go like, tell me what the important bits are. There's 10, right?
And wait, what
The
weren't
10
there
primary command.
in terms of like the actual stone
The
tablet
prime
commandments? Weren't there actually like
commandments.
15, and then Moses dropped one, and God was
Yeah,
like,
of
"LeMayo,
course.
guess you only have 10 now."
Right, and also there's two
History of the World, Part
10
1.
commandments. There's 2 different chapters that have 2 different versions of the 10 commandments.
Is that our version of the rules of acquisition? Basically, it is, right? Like,
Except it has.
you're like, okay, hold
quite
on. For
less
this
to
very
do with acquisition.
for this very awkward situation that I have no direct answer to, I will consult the book and see what it says.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when this asteroid fills up with bodies? Because there's only like a dozen here. How infrequently do these people die?
There's
Maybe
a
there
whole
are multiple
asteroid belt
asteroids.
like around this planet. It's fine. There's plenty left.
Maybe it just beams into a different asteroid when it gets full.
Well,
It's like, okay,
think that-
capacity maximum.
I think the device that they use kind of works on like basically like it just kind of they beam them away, but this asteroid belt kind of yoinks
Okay.
them into itself. So if the asteroid belt gets full up, they'll just get
Ooh, I
shot
thi-
into like space somewhere.
It sure
or
seems like
something.
Harry's about to disappear.
Oh, I like here that Kim is like, yeah, let's take back some bodies to study, and Chakotay's like, no, we should leave their burial ground alone.
I think Chakotay's the only one in the crew that's ever like, let's respect the burial sites of anything. Everyone else is like, I want to take a bit.
Yep.
Oh, where's Harry? Well, is
that
Ensign
Seska?
Kim in the polymer? Yeah, that's
Yes.
Seska.
Is that Seska before she was evil?
Yes.
Well, no,
No, she's
she's
always
evil right
evil.
now.
No, we
Yeah.
just don't know. She was being helpful though.
I really
she
like
does-
that they're mummified. It
66%
helps.
helpful.
She does soon enough start stealing replicator rations, and that's evil.
Yeah, like if you're playing an
She's
evil
stealing them, or
character,
is
you
she
still want to
trading
make
them?
sure the people in your
Steals.
party get along with you.
Well, I don't think she steals replicator rations. She steals food from the pantry.
Wasn't she pregnant at the time? Couldn't that be an excuse?
No.
No.
Pregnancy is not an
She
excuse
was-
for felonies. That doesn't... No.
You get a little hungry.
Look, I'm
You'll try
sorry
and, like-
that I stabbed someone. I was just so overcome with hormones. No.
Never mind.
Yeah, it's true. She does have evil eyebrows. Not like these people. These people have no eyebrows.
In every great religious ceremony, there's a guy in a funny hat.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, that's how you know who to look at and listen to.
I'm still
Funny hat
The
guy.
disappointed
taller
in
the hat, the more
DS9.
important he is.
When
judge used-
Vedek turned into Kaiwin, they gave her a smaller hat. Her hat was so amazing when she
Yeah.
was a Vedek.
These guys are all like,
Well, this hasn't happened before.
and now they're all like,
Who are you?
what is this thing?
yeah.
Who are you? What is this? What's going
Awkward
on?
moment.
This guy looks familiar. I
You
mean,
know
there's a
that
lot of
This guy-
makeup, so I can't tell who it is.
This
That
guy
Jeffrey
talks
Chandler.
about
Go ahead.
this guy talks about how that wrapping has been used multiple times, but like if it's getting beamed into an asteroid field, there's no way it could have been.
Well, they
It doesn't
beam it
come back. What? It doesn't. It just come back as like an empty wrap.
The next emanation.
That coffin ceremony reminds me of what the Klingons are doing on Discovery. When
Yeah, the sarcophagus stuff.
the initial scene, actually, of Klingons.
Okay, so
Yo.
apparently this guy was also on Deep Space Nine as one of the Trill symbiont pool guardians.
Yeah, he's the one who does the ceremony when Jadzia sends her personalities out to other people.
Okay.
The mud
You know,
guy.
one of the things about hominid species is that you recognize that some of them believed in an afterlife because they buried their dead with sacrificial objects, arrowheads, even pets and things like that. So it actually, a belief in the afterlife is actually a turning point for any species.
What's a thanatologist?
Lightning
Thanos
guy?
is Greek for death.
I thought Thanos was Marvel for money.
No,
Click.
Thanatos.
Half people are
Thanatos
gone.
is the Greek word for death. So euthanasia is good death.
Thanatology is the scientific study of death and the losses brought about as a result. So a thanatologist is a real thing.
I guess we would call
What
them
do you mean the scientific study of the loss that results? Surely just look at the guys. Yep, he's gone.
Grief, maybe.
Oh, we're talking
Grief
about
counselor?
the emotional loss.
Grief counselor.
That's not okay.
Grief is a real thing. You know, always get counseling. By the way, if you know someone who passes away.
And you can afford it. If you can afford it.
Yeah.
It's Mark Twain.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Harry, you can't say that.
A starship.
Afterlife. What a race would that
Eavesdropping
be?
is no pastime for a gentleman, but I'm afraid the deed is done.
Returning for the dead is by no means a proper activity for a corpse. Nonetheless. God, the Mark Twain episode is one of my favorites of TNG. It's so good.
It's very convincing for sure.
How did you get here, Mr. Kim? Oh, I took the starship. I'm from the Starship Voyager. A starship? What registry?
Universal translator working as intended in the afterlife, or previous life, or
The Platonic realm is what I prefer to call it.
What rings would those be?
Sorry. Subspace vacuole? We never heard that before. What's with this breaking retroactive continuity?
Everybody loves vacuoles. Man, this guy is substantially less entertaining to watch when he's not Mark Twain. Why doesn't he just be Mark Twain? Hang on, did the captain even tell him to do this?
Replicated living tissue?
Why doesn't he do this with literally everyone else that dies on Voyager?
Because
I would have thought
this
after
person died of
TNG with
cancer.
the
Cancer's not a
with the-
thing on Voyager.
with the cryopod people that they would have made rules about this. They were already dead. What more could have happened to her? So her skin was decomposing, and as significantly decomposed, and you just gave her new skin, or?
They need that though, right?
We already knew they were dead bodies, though.
Yeah. How's that news?
Well, I mean, it kind of answers the question of running out of space if they all just break down into that thin layer eventually.
Oh, into the cobweb. Okay.
Right, right.
Ah,
Sorry.
corpse webs.
Yes.
So then they have this new material that could dramatically help them survive their journey, and they leave it behind because, you know, the integrity of these dead people.
Or they're just biodegradable corpses. Yeah, this is pretty traumatic. I would be flipping out.
No, this isn't the next emanation, Patera. This is just a starship.
Scary
I
woman.
regret mentioning that was
scary
Mark
man.
Twain.
I'm so glad you did. In fact, just in case you never mention it again, let me look up the actor and make sure he's not in any other episodes.
Oh, he is. He's the Aldean leader in season 1 of Next Generation.
If I've
In
learned
any
one thing
episodes
from
that we
this,
can watch in the future.
Oh,
Oh, we can always watch Next
And we
Generation
could do
again.
this whole thing again.
We could. We could.
There's a lot of Trek to finish.
if I've learned one
And they're
thing
making
from those
like
kinds
4
of
more
scenes,
series, so it's
you never struggle against your what you think are new captors because they will just sedate you.
yes.
You
Okay,
need to
this
be
is
rational with them.
this is Mark Twain's last appearance in all of Star Trek.
Oh,
No.
then he went
Let
off
me
to
check
write
if
some more
he's
books or something.
dead, or if we could get more. Okay, he's
We
not
should
dead,
start.
but he
We
is
should
91
start
years
a
old.
petition. We should start a
91,
petition on
that's fine.
change.org that we want him in more episodes of Star Trek right now.
Well, Patrick
As
Stewart is
Mark
ancient,
Twain.
and
He must
he's still
become
in
a-
Star Trek, so we could get him back.
He must just become
I'm
a
not convinced
captain of a
that
starship.
Patrick Stewart isn't a corpse marionette that they just put in the freezer each day after
Well,
filming.
Very in canon, he is now.
That's
Gollum. Gollum.
what I found quite interesting. Some people said that they met him in real life, like just before the show, and he felt so much more lifelike in person than he did. So he was acting to be much older than he was in real
Older.
life, and that's like, but why though? Because he's like roughly the same age in canon than he is IRL, right? So
Yeah,
why?
I think
you're
he's
right.
older. I think he's older in the show than he is in real life.
Yeah,
He
but
always
Star Trek
played so much-
ages are like more though. You can get older.
Yeah,
in
his
Star Trek.
voice
Physical
was
age
sounding
might
so
be roughly
visibly
the
tired.
same, but his actual age is less.
Okay, I think I heard a little bit of Twain there when he got upset.
They want to dissect you, Kim.
Oh, now he's sounding a lot more like Mark Twain.
Yes.
When he gets emotional.
Uh-oh, here comes the injection.
You're also not going to like it.
Yeah, you're not
Taking
happy.
prisoners is by no means a proper activity for a gentleman. Nonetheless, the deed is done.
So a person dies on that planet every 2 hours.
That's a pretty good
No,
rate. That's a really low rate of death.
That's pretty
Jesus.
good.
No,
How-
there's just a ceremony every 2 hours. All the poor people don't get ceremonies, remember?
So most of them just get like tossed in the trash?
Yeah, I'd assume so.
What?
You just dig a ditch and, you know.
I'm trying to look up how many people die. Or how many seconds between deaths.
There's a lot
Well,
of people
I
dying.
just know the birth rate and the death rate are roughly equal, or they should be.
Okay, in 2015, 55 million people died. Now let me do some
Right.
division here.
Maybe
The-
there's only like 1,000 people on this planet.
100 people a minute.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, we'd have to be like, we'd need like a subspace vacuole chain gun.
How many subspace
You know,
vacuoles? Yeah, we
I
need a
wouldn't
lot of
mind
pods.
going out on an asteroid. I would finally get to rest in peace because there's too much trouble down here. I don't want to be down here.
Well, I don't want to start sending corpses to the to space because we could reuse the nutrients here to feed plants. They're useful.
Yeah, I mean, we have enough cow manure.
Assuming we stop locking people in eternal metal crypts.
They're not metal, they're just wood.
No,
Some
the
of them are
vaults
metal.
are.
It depends.
Yeah, it's a lot of them
what
are metal
vaults?
here. We have a lot of above ground mausoleums.
On this starship, she
Oh,
says.
is that not just
Bringing
in
her
places
back from the
where
dead
if you
was
bury
a-
people, they just come back up because
was
of
not a
swamp
good
and
move.
stuff?
No, they come back up because they're zombies, Argos. Jeez.
Yeah, but zombies
That-
are always depicted
also-
as partially decomposed. That wouldn't be
That
happening
is
in a
not
sealed
Susie
casket.
Claxton. That is not Susie.
Oh, you're hungry? Because you were dead a minute ago.
A suspect. Wait, what? But okay.
We
Are
got
they
some
in
more
asteroid now?
bodies. This is an even more elaborate version of, like, you know, when that episode where people just start getting yoinked and replaced by random people.
Yeah.
This is an
Well,
even more
here's-
elaborate version
What
of
if that person had been like put into the middle of the warp core?
Yeah.
Well,
Here's
then
a
they are
question.
going to the
Voyager.
afterlife.
Or the antimatter tank. Well, so here's a question: did it scoop up one of the living crew and suck it back into the other dimension with Harry? You know, if they're
No,
if the
only
ship
if they
is
were going to be
being
standing right there. So no one
because
was in
of the
that
ship's
room.
proximity
What if they ended up in
to
the
this
septic tank?
phenomenon, wouldn't other
Phenomenon?
crew members start getting scooped up?
Thank you, Gyrans. Gyrans, in D&D on Thursday, you get inspiration.
Wait.
Ah, I see it is. Granting
That's how it is,
favors for
Argus.
service.
Yes.
Well, you should have used your rage.
You're just like one of the D&D gods, you.
Petty and unknowable. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, actually. He's presented with new information, new evidence, and he's changed his mind. I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's the one who's got to think about it because he's about to go do the thing.
And she's basically saying, please go die.
Yeah, basically. It would be easier for everyone, I think, because he has some condition that they have to pay for, and she's like, nah.
Well, surely they have to pay for this, and that's why they have the... Only so few people get
For
transferred.
me and my husband, you
Maybe that's the only free part of their healthcare.
weird
is, like,
alien.
you get,
How
you
dare
get your
you
free
get
rocket
between
into
me and
space.
my life insurance payout?
Exactly.
What is it they call it? The cenotaph?
The senator? Who's the senator?
You're not going to find very much.
Well, it's cold, it's murky, it's dark. There's a lot of dead people around, and occasionally more dead people appear.
No, he doesn't come from the afterlife. He comes from a starship. Trying to be all diplomatic when you very much clearly want to say, no, your beliefs are explicitly wrong. You're just dead and you're on an asteroid. We can prove that your entire religion is wrong. You continue to
You'll get
exist
demoted if he
as an
says.
asteroid, as a cobweb. Yes, you do. You know very explicitly what happens, Harry Kim. They go to an asteroid and they turn into cobwebs.
No, they appear in someone else's cenotaph, and you bang the door, and they open it, and this happens.
Speaking of people comfort each other about death, in Lord of the Rings, in the third movie, when Gandalf is talking to Pippin about, like, oh, the white shores and swift sunrise, is he just being nice and Pippin's just going to cease to exist, or do they have an afterlife in Lord of the Rings? What are the rules? Do they have a heaven where you get to go hang out with all the Maiar?
Well, there's the there's the thing with the ship, and they go off on the ship to like with the elves and things.
They
but
say
that's, like,
they call them the
fictional.
Undying Lands, but apparently all the non-elves actually still die there. Like Frodo and Bilbo and Gimli go, and they still die eventually.
They only go because they got a special invitation.
Or elves are just straight
A
immortal.
special death invitation.
Yeah.
The elves think
Oh
you
yeah,
need to
ghost
die
pirates.
now.
So there is such a thing as spirit because there's the ghosts. There's the spooky ghost king. It doesn't necessarily imply heaven, but there is a spirit in Loder. You could just choose not to die. You're
Those
gonna die
rings
eventually
look like they're
anyway.
going through the planet. That doesn't.
Oh yeah,
Well, he
that
does.
curve looks off.
Yeah.
He does choose not to die. He goes and runs away to the mountains.
Good for
See,
him.
one of those people should have been sucked into the thing.
It sounds like you're like 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds ahead of me.
I should be behind you. I started after everyone else.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but you're saying things like 2 or 3 seconds before they happen on my screen.
Fine.
I
I'm
always
gonna-
start at the exact time that Ryan says and end up 5 to 10 seconds ahead. So I just use
That's
that
just the way
delay
it is.
after he says pit play.
I've just paused and unpaused after a couple seconds, so we'll see. Something about magnetic interlocks.
Vacuoles are disrupting the warp core's magnetic interlocks. It won't be long before we lose any matter containment.
Janeway to bridge.
Janeway to bridge.
Oh wow, that's quite the difference.
Yeah, I'm still ahead
Okay.
even by a little
Tell
bit.
me when the ship goes to warp.
They're flying. Wings are raised. Warp.
Got it.
Paris. It's not important. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but it will help slightly.
It will impact on the quality of the stream.
Yes.
Oh no, not the stream that gets me 4 cents per stream. What will I ever do?
Hey, you gotta hold
That's
yourself to the
fine.
highest possible standard. This is Star Trek.
Why do I even monetize these streams? I should just turn it off. What's the point?
If you turn
What
it
are
off,
they
can we
eating?
start
One day,
swearing all
those
over the
4
place?
What are
cents
those?
will help.
What are
sticks.
those? They're just chewing on sticks. Is
It
it
looks like
is
jerky.
it jerky? Yeah,
She's
but
chewing it very slowly so she
It's
can
in
wait,
spit
but
it out
there's
after the
some
shake.
kind
what's
of
the
juice.
liquid at the bottom of the jerky cup?
Jerky juice.
Kool-Aid.
Is that a dip?
I guess it's chewing it
Yeah,
incredibly
people
It
die
looks too
slowly.
every day,
runny.
everywhere,
Spit it out.
lady. Yes, that's how death
Yeah.
works.
They comb right into the afterlife.
Context clues, lady. It's not that hard to figure out. Well, then, yeah, no, that's not what happens.
What if that's just your perception of life? What if you don't have a body? Eh? Ever thought of that?
Bodies are nothing but trouble anyway. You gotta maintain them, you gotta, like, give them food and water, and you sleep wrong, and then you have pain in your body. Better to just do
Or-
without it.
Your body just decides, like, see that organ that you need to survive? It doesn't work.
Would you like to be killed? Because they could try to send you to the afterlife, and you can see for yourself if it works.
These girls should be grateful. They cured her cancer.
Also, if these people get like a horrible disfigurement, or say like they die in a fire and their body's horribly charred, are they supposed to reappear in the afterlife with a charred body that they have to walk around in?
Yeah, they
What
just
if they
have
get
arms and
shot?
legs.
What if they get
That's
shot
what
in
she
the head?
said.
Yeah, what?
Like,
It's just arms and legs. That's all she specified.
What happens to the tumor when they go to the afterlife? I think there are some logistical problems with this person's religious beliefs.
That one line is probably what convinced Janeway. If there's a chance I can get home.
We
That's
are
exactly
far
how
from
she feels.
home.
Like we're the same. We're kindred spirits. We both want to get home.
Those rings are okay.
yeah,
But
it's
that's-
fine now.
But that's
Okay, they're a
CG. That's not... If that's CG, why would they use a different model of an incorrect ring system?
They probably
like,
just had a
fudged it
really
over.
weird, like,
A
what's it
Mitty
called?
decision.
I'm thinking maybe they just wanted to really see the curve of the rings in that shot, so they just budged them over to the left. Kept the planet where it is.
I don't know if, like, I just noticed this because of the way he does it, but Chakotay always presses his badge different than everyone else. He kind of does it
Isn't
with his
she-
whole hand.
Is it she gonna show up on the asteroid surrounded by corpses? Or no, she's beaming them through
No, she just
a vac.
ends up on the transporter pad covered in the web and she's dead.
Nope. She
Buffer
gonna be
tank.
dead.
Does she have like a blood curdling scream though here?
Let's find out. Nope.
Nope, just dead.
Covered in web. All right, well, we solved that problem.
Again.
Literally just said she was dead.
All that work.
Wait, hold
that
on.
the
They
doctor put into
revived her
fixing
last time, and she had a tumor in her head. Why can't they revive her this time without one?
So it's not
Because
she's
convenient
extra
for the
dead.
plot.
they don't want to pay her anymore. I bet Seska killed her on
Oh,
purpose.
all right. Yeah, Seska was
I think
like,
the
"We don't
last
wanna-"
time they got her, she was being beamed away from the planet, so there was probably still some life in her. I don't know.
Yeah, but this time she was being beamed away and then back to the ship while she was alive.
In the Fellowship of the Ring book, are the Barrow Whites people who are they the spirits of people, or are they their own creature? What's the deal with the Barrow White? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Nervous about the logistical problems in our religion.
I think it's him. He's worried. He wants to bury this guy. Like literally and figuratively bury this guy.
Murdering someone for being a threat to my religious power is not a proper activity for a gentleman.
They seem very unfazed about the fact that he's an alien, and only phased about the fact that he came back from the afterlife.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe people look different in the afterlife.
How is this in his family for 5 generations if it gets transported to another dimension?
It's
Maybe
a
his
very
great
long
great
shroud that they
great
cut off.
grandfather made it, and it's just been hanging out in a cupboard. Nope.
Yeah,
father
so
used
it
the
doesn't
shroud.
make
Never
any
mind.
sense, right?
He
Because
just explicitly said that his father before him. Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
that's what I asked at the
I'm
beginning.
thinking it's a really long roll of shroud that they cut off after a certain point. Like there's more of it, more than one
Yeah,
person.
that
I
used
don't
to
buy
look
it.
like a whole roll of paper towels. It was really big before. Now it's just this little roll that's left.
Yeah.
Well, if you need to go to the toilet, you're all shrouded up.
Well, you just make a mess and you're already wrapped in toilet paper, so you're good to go.
That means you're in the afterlife forever soiled.
Yep.
And
Well, you know that machine kills you anyways, right? So like you're gonna soil yourself one way or another. I don't know if you've been around when someone dies, but usually they just kind of void their bowels.
I don't
Also
tend
not-
to try and be around when people die.
It's not guaranteed to happen. It can happen.
It's only if you're
It
like
often
at capacity,
happens.
right? Like,
All right, if you want to make things not awkward for your family, everyone make sure to take an enema before you die.
take a big dump. Or if you want to make it really awkward, just eat a lot of really, really bad stuff for your stomach and then, and then go.
Get a 12-pack taco crave case from Taco Bell and just
Get
Well,
through as
I
much
do
of it
keep
as you
getting
can.
emails about $5 off $15 order from Taco Bell.
Yep. Yeah, the DoorDash guy showing up at your while you're in hospice care with your big case of tacos. Interrupting the
That's
whole
your-
family's
that's your
around you
final-
crying, and you're just knocking back tacos like, no, thanks for the memories, guys. Oh, you gonna have a
For my last
Good
meal
one.
on
Come
death
on.
row, I want
I would like
a
20
pizza so I can be dead in 30 minutes or less.
Domino's pizza. Oh, I would not want Domino's pizza as my last meal. What a terrible.
It's not about the
Terrible
food,
pizza.
it's about the delivery time.
I don't care.
Oh yeah, while we were talking about shitting yourself and dying, this guy's been convinced by Harry to escape to the mountains.
Yeah, whatever.
Harry's just starting insurrections here, religious insurrections. They're gonna create.
this-
It's gonna fracture the entire religion. It's gonna be like when the Martin Luther put his demands on the church door, right? Like he's causing a schism. That's the word I was looking for. He's causing a schism in this culture's
Also-
religion.
Harry Kim and that other dude had very different body types.
Right.
It's okay.
How does the wife not
Religious-
recognize this isn't my husband?
She wants that insurance payout, so she doesn't care who goes in there.
It's true.
Having a better tomorrow is a proper activity for a gentleman.
What if they open it right at the end, just in case? Like, you don't know Kim. Put that back on. Also, just
Well, maybe
lean
the guy
forward a bit so
briefed
that you
him
don't
on what
get
the ritual
zap-adapt.
would be.
What did he do with the uniform? Is
Maybe
that guy
that's
running into
required
the
to
mountains in
pass
his
through.
Starfleet uniform?
That's cultural contamination right there. The polyester fiber used in the
in for a
uniform
penny,
is
in
going
for a
to
pound. There's
destroy
already a
us.
lot of
She's the
cultural
one who hits the
contamination.
button too. Wow, she hits the button.
Why is he not like leaning
What a-
forward?
What a cold,
Just, like, lift
cold
your head,
woman.
Oh dear. Why would
But you,
why would
you have to
not
die
just
for the
lift your head up?
machine. So he has to be dead for the machine to go on to the next phase, right? So
Emanation.
if he's not dead, the machine won't send him through the portal.
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
has
that's
to
how
die.
it works. I think the machine
that
will
is
do it
that
either
is
way.
explicitly how it works.
Okay, but hold on. He
Machine
got
is like,
sent back while
wait, he's
alive.
not dead. There's an error. Open up the pod. We have some type of malfunction. So then the whole thing would go to crap. The whole plan would fail.
And it's just Kim again. Every time they open a sarcophagus, Kim's in there.
Sorry guys, just me again.
Send me back, damn it.
The afterlife is just filled with Harry Kims. All the Harry Kims who died throughout the series.
That's a
Oh
lot of Harry
God.
Kims.
There's a whole asteroid dedicated to them.
Human.
It's alright, the doctor can magic him up.
Side
If he feels like it.
Beam it
Is there
directly
brain
to Sky?
activity? Nah, just
Yeah,
create
beam
something.
Well,
it
they
was-
don't know who it is. They don't want to assume that it's Harry Kim. It might be a different
Why
human
didn't
that
they
was
just
transported to
make a
another
new one?
dimension.
They had
Yeah,
they had
okay.
like what'd you call it? A template of Kim the last time he was
But you can say
transported. so-
beam them, not beam it.
Well, going by D&D rules again here. In D&D, a person is considered a creature. A corpse is an object.
Oh man.
So what makes it a creature?
What makes what a
Alive?
creature?
An object?
Dr. Zimmerman.
If you revive the corpse, it becomes a creature.
So what happens in the revival process? Like, what are you putting into this object that makes it a
The
creature?
spirit. Literally the spirit. It returns from the afterlife to be placed in the corpse if it's willing. It doesn't have to choose to come back. And then
The
it revives the
activity
body
is-
and
is
animates
basically
the
the
body and it
spirit.
becomes a creature.
What is
Speaking
that
of
stuff
putting
he's
spirits into things to animate them, this is unrelated, but it relates to Star Trek Picard, I guess. Do you guys say Gollum or Golem?
Golem.
Gollum is the character
A
in Lord of the
golem-
Rings.
A golem is like that clay construct that is from Jewish mythology, and
Yeah.
Gollum is the character from Lord of the Rings.
That's why I used to
agree.
say Gollum for the animated constructs, but I started saying Golem just because of Lord of the Rings. I didn't want to confuse the
Yeah.
two.
You just have a golem called Gollum.
That's just confusing.
Exactly.
So, Harry Kim, you died for a bit. How was your afterlife? You have one of those?
Weird. It felt just like being transported. You know, when we use a transporter, it's just a weird feeling. I have this discontinuity
like-
between my memories.
Wait, did Janeway just say as you move up the ranks? Because, who are you talking to, Janeway?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like this is
Can't hear you.
this is the scene where we're gonna get a Chinese expression?
Ah.
It might not be, but I know there's at least one point where Kim says, "Oh, there's an old Chinese expression." Except Kim is a Korean name, but whatever.
I'd still be aware of a Chinese expression. But it would be better, yeah.
No, but according to Garrett Wong, the producers actually considered him to be Chinese.
Oops.
Harry Kim.
That is a problem.
Garrett Wong is, well, he's American, but Garrett is ethnically Chinese, so I guess that's what they were going for.
Close. Could have given him a Chinese name.
But we
What I
also
do know
meet
is that-
aliens that are named like Larry, so I guess it doesn't matter. Your name can be whatever.
What I do know is we're gonna leave a whole bunch of Harry Kim corpses in our wake on the way back to the Alpha Quadrant.
Executive Senior Ensign
She's
Kim in
like-
charge of radishes. If you want some radishes, just wait until Thursday. There's some radishes coming up.
It
in the
looked like he was
schedule.
eating some radishes, honestly.
Fun fact, in Oblivion, there are 2 areas in the game with high concentrations of radishes. Odal Farm, which has 36 radishes, and God, what was the other? Harlan's Watch, which has 36 units of radishes.
I thought you were talking about the episode Oblivion there, and I was going to be like, I
No,
did
not
not
Course
realize there were
Oblivion.
radishes in that episode.
There might be radishes in Course Oblivion. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it, which we will at some point.
Yeah. Look out for radishes, guys. Eyes peeled.
Let me look up radishes on Memory Alpha for a complete list of where they are and what episodes they show up. According to Memory Alpha, well, it only has a listing for Disaster with the executive officer in charge of radishes. Let me check the scripts, see if anyone ever mentions a radish other than that. Probably not.
So we
Searching,
can
finding
just
files in
set the
progress.
radish counter to 1 and just leave it there.
Well, how
Forever.
many times do they say radish in that episode?
I don't know.
The only other thing is Tucker once says, prime rib tonight with real horseradish. And that's not a
I
radish.
don't know if that counts. Yeah.
It doesn't count. That's not a radish.
What is horseradish? Let me see. What does it look like before it's turned into that?
Looks like a white
paste?
carrot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You know what? I think I
remember?
have seen it before.
You played Stardew Valley and you picked up horseradishes from the ground to eat. And it was this big white
Yeah, it looks
thing.
like an ugly white carrot. Kind of like a
Yeah.
cross between a piece of ginger and a carrot.
In fact, if you Google horseradish, the second picture looks kind of like it's wrapped in that thing the corpses were wrapped in this episode. It has this white outer covering that's all stringy and weird.
I'd
Anyway.
like to.
Yes.
I was going to say I'd like to say that that horseradish mayonnaise concoction is not a replacement for actual horseradish, despite what the people who put my grocery order together thought.
Okay.
Yeah, don't listen
Do
to
not
Big
do that.
Radish.
All right. So let's see. Next week on Enterprise is Civilization, which was supposed to be yesterday, but the stream died, so it wasn't. So it's next week.
We have to have a
Fortunate
makeup
Son.
bonus episode.
Nah.
We'll have to do 4.
No, we're not doing 4.
put up
Civilization,
with us for
where
that long.
Archer goes undercover in a pre-industrial civilization. Fortunate Son, where we meet a cargo ship that's dealing with some Nausicaans. And the villain is named Ryan.
You know,
So that's
the
nice.
Nausicaans suddenly became very eloquent and
Yeah.
they enunciate much better.
They don't all
in
yell about
Enterprise.
Gramba and Damjat human.
Trying to insult everyone's grandma.
And then the third
What
episode
happened?
next week for Enterprise is Cold Front, where we meet crewman Daniels and are introduced to the temporal Cold War.
Early on.
Oh, you know what my headcanon for that is? They're using the UT to talk to him versus the Nausicaan is actually trying to speak English in Next Generation flashback.
Yeah. And let's see, next week
that's gonna be the
Voyager. Next week Voyager is Prime Factors, which I don't remember. The crew. Oh, that's the subspace trajector that could like propel them across the entire galaxy.
The pleasure people.
Oh, another Almost Get Home episode.
Yeah. State of Flux, where there's a Kazon ship. And then I don't even know.
Mhm.
I feel like
State
they
of
did that
Flux,
a
they
lot in
ended-
the early seasons, where
State
they
of
almost
Flux,
send them
they
home and then
they show that there's a traitor on the ship, but I don't think they say who it is.
It's Seska.
Well, there are 2 traitors actually. There's Seska and there's Karth.
Is that the other Mackie guy?
I don't. He might have
like,
been.
I think
he was a
he was
Pharaoh.
obsessed
I
with
thought he
Seska,
was a
though.
Starfleet guy.
Karth? I don't remember that name.
Well, his name isn't Karth. Star Trek, his name is Karth in Knights of the Old Republic, and he's Karth to me. His name is Raphael Sabarge, the actor. He also plays Kaden Alenko in Mass Effect, if you know that.
Yeah, but what's the guy in?
Yeah, but
his
what's his name in Star
Voyager?
Trek?
I don't know, and honestly, I don't really care. His name is Karth. Fine, let me look it up.
He's a
Star
dude.
Trek, Raphael Sabarge. Jonas.
Ends up being Jonas.
Michael Jonas.
He also plays Professor
name is
Say from
Jonas.
Ba Sing Se University in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ah. Oh god, Avatar. I was watching Avatar The Last Airbender with someone. Or maybe it was Korra, doesn't matter. There was a character, and as soon as I heard them speak, I don't even know who it was, I immediately hated them, and I didn't know why. It took me like another episode to realize, oh, they voice this character that I hate in a Star Wars game. They voice Rosh Pennon, who's just, the worst, if you're familiar with him, in Star Wars Jedi Academy. Rosh Pennon is awful, and I hate him. And he voices another person, and so I hate them as well, no matter what. That's the rule. But that's it for Star Trek for today. We're done here. Be gone.
Bye.
Never.